in the YouTube. Okay. That's actually he is. So, okay. Cause it's time for some podcasting. Please keep on listening. Cause it's time for talking Tremor shit. Talking Tremor shit. Bum, bum, bum. Hey everybody, I am your host, Levi Dylan Burzloff. Let I'm not sad tonight. I'm a little weary. I am world weary. Because we're gonna do something I never fucking expected to do. Um, we are going to make an entire episode that is an apology letter to Don Michael Paul, the guy that directed Tremors 5, 6, and helped write 7 while also directing it. And holy shit brigades, did I never think I was gonna be here. And I have a comment here on the YouTube that's kind of my um, it's not honestly, I have something better to say than this, but Midnight TV on YouTube says Don Michael Paul is a really good guy, just didn't make good movies. Well, 6 was great. We're gonna get into it. He is a fantastic guy. It's honestly why we're here tonight, or why I'm here tonight, because Don Michael Paul ain't half bad, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And that's not me being a hypocrite or going back on anything. When you learn new information, it is your responsibility to respond to that information and do something different, do something better. Let people know. It's my job here as part of the Talking Tremors podcast to let everybody know about Tremors. Like somebody on TikTok just asked, my memory is bad. Tremors is about the desert worms. Yes, it is. It's also about the desert worms that turn into dinosaur chickens that turn into uh, giant crocodiles that fly by shooting fire out of their ass. This is a whole what the fuck. But it's really not. Tremors is about people. It's about small communities of people coming together. And yeah, what? I know, right? It's about these communities of people coming together, working together to fight things that are much larger than them. Um, and the whoever it just says loading. So if that's your name, I don't know your actual username. I would love to. It just says loading, so I don't know. But this person that just asked me that question is what? The Lord just got deeper. Oh baby, you have no fucking clue. This I always like to call it because there's the rabbit hole that Alice falls down, and I find it a funny play on words that it's the graboid hole that Valentine falls down because Valentine McKee is a main character in the first one and in the Kevin Bacon Tremors pilot that he made. He came back out of all the what in the world. And thank you to whoever's liking stuff. I'm not great with TikTok. I barely use TikTok. I'm much more of a podcaster. We don't need to get it in. You can get it in Valentine's graboid hole. We don't need to go there on that cucking kids, which is I didn't realize what I was saying until I said it out loud. But all this to say that the lore of Tremors is far more than just giant desert worms. It's not. Everybody always goes to that because I guess it's easy. It's they're giant desert worms. You kind of latch onto that. We all know what Dune is and seen that. Uh, and know they're not related. Kind of. But there's this world of Tremors. That's thank you. It just says loading, so I'm really sorry if I don't know your username. Whoever loading is, um, if you could write your username if it's not loading, that would be great, so I can actually say that. But it says loading says love the enthusiasm. Not a movie buff, but I love when people are passionate about their interests. That's what we're here to do. And I've just got to say that the whole reason I'm doing this is because I met Don Michael Paul. There was a Tremors Fest. I'm wearing my garb. And there was a Tremors Fest a couple weeks ago in Santa Fe, New Mexico. 3-day Tremors Fest. Showed all 7 movies. You got to meet everybody. You know, Michael Gross and S.S. Wilson. I've already met Steve S.S. Wilson. He's a great guy. Ron Underwood and Robert Jane and Gladys Jimenez and Leela Lee and Don Michael Ball was there and George R. R. Martin. And we'll get into that. I fucking hate that guy. But Don Michael Paul was there. I met this dude, um, and talk about somebody that has an enthusiasm for this franchise. And I mean that like I mean I'm here. I run a whole podcast about Tremors and fucking I I fell in love with Don Michael Paul. I have spent the last 2 years fucking dragging his name through the dirt, and I met him and I heard what he had to say, and I was like, you just made a fan, man, fucking a, and yeah. I got a couple more. Santa Fe. I live in New Mexico. Tremors 2 and 3 and so on. Forever Mine and my mom's favorite movie and TV series. That's Jimmy Allen. How many Tremors Fests are there in a year, and do they go other places? Austin East Eaton. So this was the first annual Tremors Fest, and I helped organize it. And if I can do anything to help, if we're going forward, and it's the first annual, I would love for this to go other places. Tremors Fest was in Santa Fe, but fucking Santa Fe is a long ass fucking way away from like most anybody. And the reason it was in Santa Fe is because Michael Gross lives in Santa Fe, and this is the weirdest fucking story. So Michael Gross lives in Santa Fe, and he bought a railroad with George R. R. Martin and the guy that owns this theater, the Violet Crown Theater. They all bought a railroad together. I don't fucking people with money. I don't understand these things, but they bought this railroad together, and lo and behold, you find out that like George R. R. Martin is a huge fan of Tremors, um, loves the movies, and then this movie, the guy that owned the theater, which I can't remember his fucking name, which is really bad of me, but he was like in and out. That's not here, neither here nor there. And they were like, "Hey, let's have a Tremors Fest," and so we fucking made one. Like really, like that was like the entire impetus of it was just like Michael Gross and George R. Martin meeting, and like with this dude that owned a theater. And there's a Tremors Fest now. But I helped work on it behind the scenes. Helped invite a lot of people. Got some ideas together. Put some things together. Um, just a whole bunch. And if I could make Tremors Fest happen yearly, I would love to move it all over the place. Santa Fe was really cool. Great, wonderful place to be. Never been there before. Absolutely beautiful. But let's like there's so many people from the East Coast who couldn't go. There's a lot of people from like England and shit who couldn't go, from all over the world that couldn't go. And it's like, if I had to if I was really making decisions on this, we're gonna move Tremors Fest all over the place. I would love to next year, Chicago, because I live in Iowa. It's not about easier for me, but it's like I think Chicago is where we should go, make it a little bit easier for people on both coasts. And then for the third annual Tremors Fest, then we go to like New York or Pennsylvania or something. Actually, I've got to figure out the exact town that Brent Maddock is from, because he's from somewhere in New York, and I think that would be a great way to incorporate him, because he's one of the creators of Tremors, and go to the town that's where he grew up in to have a Tremors Fest. So that's where I'm at on that. So if Tremors Fest was happening, we got off track, but that's the point. We don't stay on track on this show. This show is about everything Tremors. It as the person said, it's this lore just got deeper. You have no idea. I specifically wear this protect local wildlife, save the graboid shirt, because we should be nice to graboids, and let's be kind to them. They're an endangered species. We don't have to kill them all. We can kill shriekers on sight because they multiply like rabbits. But graboids and ass blasters, let's just be kind to them. Let's just be cool. Um, I was just about to say, everybody like and subscribe. Press the fucking don't. Oh, hey. And Charlie's here. Protect the graboids. I'd love to go to Tremors Fest. I was upset I couldn't go, but I'm glad other people got to see. If you want to see what Tremors Fest was like, head over to the Tremors Saga's YouTube page. And there's a fucking shit ton of videos. There's actually a playlist of Tremors Fest videos. There's some that I uploaded, and then there's some that the Tremors Saga uploaded. The Tremors Saga uploaded most of the like Q&As, and then Michael Gross gave a bunch of intros before each movie, which were very informative. Like he just talked for like 10 minutes before each movie. and but then there was Q&As where everybody from the movies like just talked for like 45 minutes. And hey, okay, if that's really Don Michael Paul, like I doubt that. Please. Haha, yo, I'm Don Michael Pauls. Don, remember me. If it is you, Don, I do remember you, and this whole episode is about you. Oh my god, you're really his kid? No shit. Oh, I'm Don Michael Paul's. It says Don. You wrote Don, son. Remember me? No, I didn't. I didn't actually get to talk to you. I was just so all over the place. What was your actual name? I actually wanted to speak to you, but I was just running back and forth so much. What's your name, Don Michael Paul's son, so I can refer to you as such? And I'm please tell your dad I'm so fucking sorry. I just texted him today too. He probably that's probably how you know about this. My name oh Doug because it's Robo Jet. So Jet, yo, seriously, your dad's pretty fucking cool. I like I said, I have spent the last 2 years just fucking shitting on 5, 6, and 7, and it wasn't just meeting your dad that like turned me around on it, but hearing his I was talking about this earlier, but hearing his level of enthusiasm for the franchise that almost matched my own. Like it's impossible to match mine. Like I fucking like uh and yo, someone's with Jet. I'm his friend. I bet his friend is Don Michael Paul. But like Zoran, I was talking to Zoran and like that interview, and he was just like you could tell he's like I love Tremors but not as much as you. You are fucking insane. And I am fucking insane for Tremors. But I'm a very normal person. Quotes. But seriously, Jet, your dad. I tried saying this to him, but I don't think he believed me when I was talking about it. But his directorial vision is fucking massacred by being on a small screen. That man, he's got eyes for the big screen. And this is what we're going to talk about here. This is the opener for everything that I have to introduce, and I've gone so all over the place. But seriously, Don Michael Paul's vision is 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 destroyed by being on a tiny screen. You need to watch his movies on a giant fucking screen. Like it's like I have to admit I was watching them today. I was watching 5, 6, and 7 a day, just trying to like catch up on it. I always try to refresh my memory, make sure I'm like right here on the ball. And it was just like there's I was getting more out of it having interacted, but I was like, man, just seeing them on the fucking big screen, it was like, and and I know he again. I was trying to tell him this, but I could tell he wasn't believing me because we had just been. I'm his nemesis now, and I just like. I'm sorry. I'm really not. Like I said, this is me. I will turn a page on this one. Where's the book? It's got to. I will turn a page on hating Don Michael Paul. But just like the Stampede movies, the 1, 2, 3, 4, all great, all fantastic. I'm an absolute fan of them. But even they like there was still a bit of direct to video ness in the way that they're formatted, and I think that's more a product of the 90s and the 2000s. But Don just like 5, 6, fucking 7 especially, like you could tell he had figured it out, and he was in charge of like the Tremors franchise, and he was like, I'm big and spectacular. And when I was watching it today, it was just like there's all this lighting and the way shots are framed up, and he loves living in the close up and just giving you everything, and it's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, sorry, I just got all like, so I didn't really think that someone that knew your dad. I didn't think that. Sorry, Jet. I didn't think. Uh, I always try to assume that the people that I'm talking about are going to watch the thing that I'm talking about them in, because that's actually a great way to live your life on the internet. Just always assume that whoever you're talking about is always going to listen to what you have to say. Uh, that way you can talk about them in a way that's like not being an asshole. I learned that from Harmontown. Harmontown is one of my favorite podcasts, and Dan Harmon would just go on the internet and just like he'd see people talking about him, and just be like, "Hey, um, oh my God, somebody else says Don to your dad, Jesus," and like, and he could just, "Hey, I was talking about you. I was talking about you on Reddit." And just be like, "You're a fucking idiot. I'm watching you talk about me, and it's horrible. I've watched people eviscerate Aaron McGathy, his wife, just like for no reason at all." And it's like these people are like they're real life people. They're there. Don't interact with them as their characters. Give them their respect and their due. These are people. And also, what the are you, Jet? Are you really? Oh my God! It is you. Are you on both places? Ah, Jesus, Jet. I applaud you. That's pretty goddamn good. That's okay. So okay, so this is my point. I'm gonna, we're gonna go into this with this mindset here. And I had sent this to your dad, so I assumed 100% that Don, you're listening. I know you're fucking listening, man. So we're gonna get into this. All right. Um, I really didn't think that this was gonna happen, so now I'm just adjusting my brain a little bit for this. But yeah, I got to go to Tremors Fest. And honestly, I gotta say, meeting everybody was fantastic. There's one person that I'll talk about later that I really just if you could tell your dad, Jet, I have suspects. I not suspect. I have a suspect singular for why your dad hasn't got to meet the other people, which is one of the saddest fucking things. And it's why I'm doing this. I have to get to this. But okay. The whole point of this episode, we're 17 minutes in. The whole point of this episode is that we're gonna go through everything that I have on for Don Michael Paul. Uh, Please forgive me, Don. As I'm talking to you, I still have to say your name for everybody that's not you. So, like, sorry. It's there's so many things. I swear I'm not schizophrenic. There's just so many different things in the world that you just gotta piece and parse and put them all together. Um, and so I do have to say that I did. I want to shout this out before I go any further. So the reason that the name of this episode is uh, Don Don Michael, the editor for Seven, Vanek Moradian, which I'm probably not saying right. Vanek. I just call him Vanek. He was a really cool guy too. I come up to Don, and this was after like I'd met him earlier in the day, and was like, "Fuck, man, listen, I fucked up. I fucked up hard." Um, and I, went back to my hotel. Was going back and forth for movies, and I was just like, "All right, so I got to make up for this. You can't, you can't do what I've done. We're on episode 40 of this podcast, and just like I got to do this justice here. All right, I just met you. You care. We're doing this." And I came up to Don and I was like, "Hey, so listen, I had this idea where I'm gonna do an episode of the podcast called an apology letter to Don Michael Paul." And Don was like, I don't know, it's kind of like grandiose. And I was like, oh, "Okay." And he was like, "Well, how about like Don Michael Paul is a great guy?" And Vanek was like, "It's a little pretentious." And then Vanek chimed in. He's like, "But how about like Don Michael Paul ain't half bad?" And me and Don were like, "Hey, this is okay. That's pretty good." Because he's your dad's Don, your Jet. I'm talking to five different people at once here. Dad's a very humble guy. Honestly, it's like my wife Caitlin and I were talking. It's like if Chris Farley was a director, and I don't mean that because he's a big guy. I mean that because of his personality, his face, and there's a lot of what he was doing that you could tell it was just like, "You'll be living with Burt Gummer in a van down by Bixby." It just absolutely a big a big personality, which was fascinating to me as a person, as a big personality myself, and just like, wow. So Jet had said over here, okay, so Don wanted me to, ah, my dad wanted me to say that they did film both endings for Seven, and was confused when someone said they only filmed one ending. So I have to say this: I have gone on record and I have begged people to listen to me on this front that like, yeah, I know that like he's filmed two endings. Like there's a very clear narrative of this whole thing of just like no, like they filmed two endings, and if I get your dad on and like and I mean this Don your dad like I'm sorry I'll figure this out in another half an hour how to properly use these pronouns and stuff. Um, but I want to watch every single one of Don's movies. And I want to get you on here, Don. I want to get him in here, and I want to go. You know, I want to watch Kindergarten Cop 2. I want to watch Sniper 2 and Jarhead and Scorpion King, The Legacy, and the actually the one that I do have of his is Lake Placid, the final chapter, just because I like Lake Placid movies. So I've already been. I want to watch them all and just be like, okay, so hey, like let's dive into this. Like I love a if you ever come onto my show and you're one of my guests, I interview the fuck out of you. I love Hot Ones. Hot Ones with Sean is one of my favorite interview shows because so many interviews are just this whole um like very I am robot. These are questions. Answer beep beep beep. User 731 a whole bunch of numbers just said this guy seems awesome and he does. Don is so fucking cool. I'm not just saying that because Jet's here. And hello, remember the 80s and 90s. Hello. Give Don Michael Paul a chance. Um, and so many interviews are just this fucking like whole robotic thing of just asking the same things that we've heard over and over again. So if I ever have anybody on my podcast, you're gonna get you're gonna get you're gonna get asked some weird fucking questions. I do. I will like stalk your life. Like I mean that. I will fucking find out everything I can about you. And then what I don't find is what I will ask questions about. And Don is a really lit guy. Thank you, Anonymous Gamer. I agree. I know you know Jet, but still, I agree. And remember the 80s and 90s? Tremors is a great movie. You know what, 80s and 90s? They're all great movies. Okay? I mean, I've got some problems, you know, and I will say this to like not to be so such a Stampede fangirl. I don't Tremors 3. I have problems with. Like it's I just do. It's just I love all of them, but Tremors 3, and then so you know 7 is beautiful, but there was some like writing things today that I was just kind of like what were these choices here? These are odd. So I'm not going to without fault talk about your dad like that. Like, oh, he's only good things. It's like no, we could have some real conversations about what I wouldn't really. Okay, that's fine. Hey man, I'm not making a movie. Making a movie's hard. I've made a movie. I've made a Tremors movie. I know how hard it is. Which I need to send that to you, Don. Jet. I'm talking to Jet, but I'm also talking to Don, and then I'm talking to everybody in the podcast audience. Um, but I made a Tremors movie, and I need to send that to Don and just be like, hey, so you get to critique mine. You can tell me what is shit about mine. Um, and then remember the 80s and 90s. One is GOAT. I haven't seen the whole franchise. Bro, you need to see the whole franchise. I mean it. And I mean, you got to. You got to see them all. They're all, every single one of them has something of value to bring to the rest. They all have they do. They really do. And that includes the 13 episode TV show from 2003 that got canceled far before its time. Um, which is one question I did have for Don when I actually talked to him. Have you watched the TV? Do you know of the TV show? I don't think he does. Please tell me, Jet, if your dad does know of the TV show. But from what I was interacting with him and watching him, like specifically even seeing Leela Lee, where it's like, I don't think he actually knew that there was a TV show, which is gonna like, what we'll get into about like I'm not I've learned that I'm not gonna shit on your dad. I'm gonna shit on some fucking Universal executives, and I don't mean I met Cher Stallings, producer, fantastic woman. And I'm not gonna shit on producers, not people like Patty Jackson or anything like or Todd Williams or anything like that. People that are actually involved in the making of the movie. I have some questions about the money people, like specifically, like, and I'll get to that when I actually speak to you, Don. Um, and I have the same questions for Michael, and I have the same questions for Steve. And I just don't know how to ask them yet because it's just one of those like there's the Hollywood game, and I don't play it. Like I am but a simple podcaster. I am outside of the bounds. Cannot touch me, Hollywood. Fuck off. And hey Trey, I've been waiting for you to go live for a while now. Yeah, I should often do it, but I've been really busy. I was gardening a lot. I left for like a week, and I live in Iowa, and I have a whole bunch of garden lawn shit that I had to do. I was working. We actually just put in a ceiling, tore down a ceiling, put back a ceiling up last week. So I've just been busy. If you want to check out, I did do 2 episodes. Um, you remember the 80s and 90s. I did do 2 episodes. One about Tremors Fest. Me and my wife, Caitlin, recorded an episode in our car as we were driving back from Santa Fe, all about Tremors Fest. And then I recorded another Tremors Fest episode with the Run for Your Lives people, with Paige Allen and Daphne Backman of Run for Your Lives. Run for Your Talking Tremors Fest is what we called it. And you can check out both of those. Those are both on the Tremor Saga's YouTube channel. And then if you want to listen to the podcast version, you can go to the Run for Your Lives podcast and yeah, check it out there. Actually, they do a Tremors episode at the end of every single season. Um, it's very cool. They just got up to Tremor 6. I actually got to meet Paige. I met Paige in Santa Fe. Paige knows Don too. It was the whole thing. We got to talk about that a lot. Just like how awesome your dad is, how awesome you are, Don. I can say I'm talking to 4 different people here at the same time, and one of them is myself. And it's a whole thing. And yeah, check out Trey. I always say that TikTok is so ephemeral; it doesn't last very long. That's why I don't really like it that much. Oh my god! And Don. Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Oh my god. Okay, so Don just texted me in the middle of this. Thanks, Jet. I appreciate that. Thank you. No. I assume he's not watching because it would be kind of hard. Jesus Christ. So this is why I love this. This is my whole point of all that I do with this. So Don just texted me and just said, "Of course I know the series. I've seen them all. I've seen all the movies multiple times." Cool. Honestly, I couldn't tell. It was a weird it was some. It seemed like there was some mix up there. I'm glad. Honestly, that's really fucking cool, man. You can actually tell. Uh, oh no shit. And Don Michael Ball just said, and I saw the original Tremors on opening weekend in 1990. So this, I want to point this out. Okay, so this is, Jesus Christ. I can't text him back right now because I'm in the middle of a TikTok and I'm in the middle of a live chat. But so I told Don that like we were walking out of Tremors 5, and at the end of all of these, they all gave a Q&A. This is where I fell in love with Don, was just listening to him talk. Jesus Christ, man, you could have talked for an hour and a half after each one of those movies. And it was hilarious, like Cher, like halfway through was like, Don, you have to like answer questions. And I just like turned to her, I was like, actually, no, he doesn't. He could just keep telling these stories, and that's fine. He's kind of answering the questions before anybody asks them. It's kind of awesome. Dude, it was like just like, oh my god. And he actually said that like there were people that trashed him online, and we were walking out of Tremors 5, and when at Tremors Fest, I will get to your comments too after my thing here. Remember the 80s and 90s. These are actually pretty good comments. I just want to finish this. Those are really good. Thank you. After we walked out of Tremors 5, because he was talking about in the Q&As that there were people online that trashed him, and I was just like, hey man. And during the Q&As, I would always be answering. Like, it's really funny. They'd be giving Q&As, and I'd actually be like answering off into the side or correcting, hey, here's this thing. And we were walking out of the movie, and Don was like, hey man, you like really know your stuff, don't you? And I was like, well, Don, it's my job. I run a whole podcast about Tremors. I better fucking know my shit. And I just was like, and you know, I just I have to say this thing, and he's like, "You're one of the ones that trashed me online, weren't you?" I was like, "Fuck, man. Okay, yes, I was. I was, and fuck, and thank you. Let's pin me to the wall on this. I did." And I was like, "We're walking out of a movie right now. Let's put a pin in that, and we'll come back to it." Um, just like son of a bitch. And we did, and everybody went through line, got Don's autograph. I gotta point this out too. Where's my I made sure to get Don's autograph too on the Seeking Perfection book. Everybody got Don's autograph and stuff, and I always like to wait till the end, especially having a Tremors podcast. Then I get a little bit more time to actually talk with the people. They're not in a rush waiting for the person behind me and stuff. I try to be respectful of people's time, and Don was like, "All right, so hey, hit me with it. What did you not like?" Um, and actually, Trey, if you ask your question, I will get back around to it. Like I said, I got to finish this quick little thing here. And Don was like, "Well, what did you not like?" And I was like, "Well, this thing." And it's mainly the PJ. I was so like deer in headlights that I was just like, there's a lot of P jokes. Like that was all I could think of in that moment. And he's like, "Well," and then we actually explained it and talked about it. Um, and okay, see, and there's some good questions here on YouTube. I gotta finish this, and I was like, yeah, you know, okay, here's this or whatever. You know, again, I run the podcast about it, and I was like, hey Don, I'd love to have you on. And he's like, all right, here, give me your phone. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And Don takes my phone. He goes, pip, 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 types the phone number in, and he's like, click. You see that right there? He had a Apple smartwatch thing or whatever, and he's like, see that right there? That's you calling me. So you know, whenever you want to do that, call me. And this podcast that you're on, remember the 80s and 90s, is called Talking Tremors. It's so it's so easy. Talking Tremors. Why not? I like alliteration. And so Don, like I did, I have Don Michael Paul's phone number. I just sent him this today. And so then now he's texting me. I got to see this again. So Don did say, and I have this written in my phone. It says Don Michael Paul. Of course I know the series. I've seen them all. I've seen all the movies multiple times, and I saw the original Tremors on opening weekend in 1990. So you know what? We're gonna throw out this bullshit that Don Michael Paul doesn't know Tremors. This is whatever, and maybe and maybe he didn't know it all going into it, but by God, mother hump, he fucking figured it out by the time he was finished, and he knows it all now. I'm fucking oh yeah. So yeah, I have Don Michael Paul's phone number, and I've been waiting like to however long since Tremors Fest. Like it's just sitting there, like staring at me in the face, and it's just like I'm not gonna use this until it's absolutely perfect. Oh God, I got so many good questions. All right, so I got Don Michael Paul's phone number. We got Jet Michael Paul. I was just gonna ask, what's your last name? It's obviously not Michael Paul. It's Jet Paul. Jesus Christ, Levi. How dumb are you? And thank you. Remember the 80s and 90s? Talking Tremors is a great name. And keep asking your question, Trey. Actually, Talking Tremors comes from the Everything sequel podcast about like a year or so ago. Before I ever started the podcast, I was talking to these guys, and I dump information about Tremors whenever, um, like if someone talks about Tremors, I just can't. I just fucking. Here's the information about Tremors. Here's. And this is a book about Tremors. I didn't fucking write this, and I just don't. This is written by Jonathan Melville. He's a Scottish guy. His name is Jonathan Melville. I've actually been listening to a lot of podcasts with John. He also wrote a book about Highlander, and another one about local hero. I don't know what the fuck local hero is, but yeah, it's John. John, absolutely recommend this book. Tremors, Seeking Perfection, and I call it the official guide. What the fuck? I didn't question question this. Don just texted me, and yes, I know Earl's last name is Bassett. Uh, uh, fuck, man, I never thought you didn't. Again, we're gonna fire at Universal, NBC Universal. Can I don't know, Don, and 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 Edgar Deems is the guy Fallon Earl find on the tower. Don is texting me that he knows Tremors facts. Holy shit. Okay, so good morning, Mr. Bassett. This is your wake up call. Please move your ass. Yeah, I can do all the lines. Remember the 80s, 90s. All right, so I'm gonna go back here. I just had this whole story. Uh, all right, so remember the 80s and 90s. I gotta say this. They say, how about a new series and call it Graboid Soft Hard Reboot? Yeah, they're not just Graboids, okay? Because they're Graboids, Shriekers, and Ass Blasters. And if you watch the TV show, oh my God, Don Michael Paul is like texting me, wait for it. And the population of perfection is wait for it. Jesus. Don, you're interrupting the podcast about you. Oh my God. Don, I can't answer. He's asking. Jesus Christ. Okay, I gotta reply. Oh my God. Okay. Hold on. Jet, if you could make it clear that I can't text currently right now, but tell him the population of perfection is 14 in the movies. It's 5 in the TV show. Let me see. In the third movie, it's 6. And then, actually, I did notice this. In Tremors 6, the population of perfection is 2. It fucking says that on the sign. The population of perfection is 2. Like, Jesus Christ, man. But remember the 80s and 90s. I gotta say, no reboots. Let's just keep the continuity going. We don't gotta reboot anything. And we just, as much as I hate the name Tremors, we call it Tremors. It's all Tremors, Tremorsy, Tremorsness. And because there's Graboids, Shriekers, Ass Blasters, and if you watch the TV show, there's Mixmaster, which is this thing where you can take the DNA of different animals and creatures and smash them all together and you make a new thing. You can make a cactus horse. You can make a hamster dog. You can make an octopus fly. And I don't mean just an octopus that flies. You can make an octopus that is also a fly somehow. And it's fucking awesome. And so, whatever we do with Tremors going forward, we keep the continuity. We have gone almost 35 years here without breaking the continuity. We are not fucking starting now. We are not rebooting shit. Just keep going. Just keep going. And even Don knows that. Don didn't mess. It's like in Jurassic Park where like that raptor guy is talking about the. Even Nedry knew not to mess with the raptor fences. even Don knew not to mess with Tremors continuity. just fucking. Oh shit. I'm really wishing I could text him right now, but I can't. So no, we're not gonna reboot shit. Remembers the 80s and 90s. If you've got a great idea that works with existing continuity, and I always say this, it doesn't have to be continue. We don't have to do in the 2000s. Tremors 4 proved you can go back in time. You can have Tremors in the Old West. You can have Tremors in the medieval times. You can have Tremors in samurai Japan. You can have Tremors in ancient Egypt. You can have Tremors in wherever the fuck you want in the past. And it's actually, as far as I've written scripts and stuff, that's always where like I'll make stuff that goes forward, but you should just like let's turn that clock backwards and like we can go all over the place because it's way more fun to like do Tremors with people that don't know the rules. And we already live in a world where they know the rules, so like let's turn that clock back and we go different places and stuff. If we go any further in the future, we keep that lens in perfection and we tell the perfection story that was started in Tremors a series, or we go to space. Wow, space, Tremors. So that's where we're at with that. Remember the 80s and 90s, and remember the 80s and 90s also said I can't say enough how great T1 is. Fun fact, I watched Tremors 1 for the first time on a TV movie broadcast. I was instantly hooked. Oh, that's really sweet. Remember the 80s and 90s. And then, okay, so Trey's got his question. Who took you to the first movie? User some bunch of numbers. Nobody did. I took myself to the first movie. Actually, that's not true. Uh, my mom and dad rented it from a gas station. Rented Tremors 2 from a gas station. Um, I didn't watch Tremors 1 until like years later, like 10 years later almost. And no, I watched Tremors 2. My mom picked it out because she thought Kevin Bacon was in it because he was in the first one, and he was not. So she tuned out, but I did not. And I fell in love with Tremors ever since. That's where Tremors 2 is sometimes almost my favorite. Trey Bowen. Okay. So, okay, Trey's question. So, in about 2010, I remember seeing um, oh my God. Okay. So, there was a special with Paul Hogan. Okay. No, Trey. I don't know what you're talking about, and now I need to really. Okay. So, yeah, on a Tremors 5 page, honestly, around that time, there was so much stuff up in the air with Stampede and Universal that like everything got thrown around. There was ideas all over the place, but that's a good question. Um, uh, but see, grab. Okay, I'm going backwards, 80s and 90s. So forgive me that I'm like redoing your questions here a little bit. I agree, but the name Graboids would introduce everyone to all the variants. Okay, so this is what I call. We have to we have to pull back. They're not called Tremors. They're called Graboids, Shriekers, Ass Blasters, and Mixmaster. But they have to have a Latin name. I always go with Cadaris Tremorsi. That's my put a pin into it. Like so they're not. It's not just Graboids. I mean, Graboids are great, but there's a whole bunch more. But thank you for not agreeing about no reboots. Um, and no, and see, this is where I say you don't have to reboot it to introduce people to it in a new way. That's where I say go backwards in time or use the format of the town, like fighting things or people like Burt Gummer or Travis or Tyler Reed, which you don't know about, going out and like fighting Graboids and Shriekers and Ash Blasters. It's a whole there's already this format laid down that we can use that we don't need to reboot anything with. I would highly recommend watching the TV show. I think it's on Tubi. It's either on Tubi or there's a link in the link tree in the Tremor Saga's profile where you can find it on Vimeo too. Um, Coyote of the South. I really want to see a xenomorph alien versus a graboid. Um, fuck yeah. I mean, that's my idea. Like, no reboot. Let's just cross over shit. Fucking all over the place. If you actually look that up online, look up xenomorph Tremors, and you'll find a whole bunch of images of people that do that. Yes, Chozo One said, "How about a xenomorph graboid?" They do that. And then hold on, I'm gonna do this for you. Remember the 80s and 90s. But he doesn't wear the hat, but I'll do it. Just actually hold on. 1 second. Where's it at? Where's it at? It's right here. This is for remember the 80s and 90s. Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, bastard? That's for you guys. Everybody loves that. Or as I like to hold on, there's a GIF I made once of broke into the wrong goddamn sex room, didn't you, ass blasters? It's my favorite. It's cute. It's fun. I'm just Don's text is sitting up here, just taunting me. Thanks, Jet. Um, wrong goddamn rec room, xenomorphic graboid. Uh, yeah, and similar to Crystal Lake, be a new take on Jason. See you, Trey. I'll see you when you come back. Chozo. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Remember the 80s and 90s. All right, we'll come over here to YouTube. So, okay. Uh, what was your favorite thing about New Mexico? New Mexico is beautiful. That was my fucking favorite thing about New Mexico. Sorry, TikTok people. There's stuff over here on the YouTube channel that I got to get to, and then we got to talk about Don Michael Paul. It's a whole thing. But New Mexico, Santa Fe was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then this Pop Tart Gaming, they asked this question also. What was your favorite Tremors movie that Don directed? Uh, I love Tremors 6. It's so it's there's a leaning into it of that we know that this is cheesy and dumb and fun, and like Tremors 6 is really good. I've gotten over the stand for snow thing, and I appreciate somebody trying to do what they can with what they got. I get it. And yeah, Tremor 6. I really do. I think it's a good one. I can get into it more, but we're gonna keep rolling. Um, Helen Sanchez, are you gonna do an interview with Zoran Gavojik from Dead Meat and Low Carb Comedy? Fuck yes, I am. Actually, I've been talking. I have Zoran's email. I helped get Zoran into Tremors Fest. Zoran and his wife Megan Gorman. I actually got to meet both of them out at Tremors Fest. Absolutely fabulous people. Zoran has expressed interest in doing Talking Tremors several times, but he's doing the kill counts all the time. So it's really hard to get him in here. But there's going to be a bit of a crossover because he's interviewing me at Tremors Fest, and he's dropping that video tomorrow. And it wasn't just me. He interviewed everybody. He interviewed Michael Gross and Steve S.S. Wilson and Ron Underwood and Sarah Botsford and Don Michael Paul and a bunch of other people and then me. And so we'll see what Zoran cooks up on that. He's been hella fucking busy. I was dropping him footage and shit. He's been going through it. I mean, fucking hella busy. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Jet. I just realized you said, haha, I told him you're live. I told him I was live too. I sent him that. So I appreciate you, Jet, but also son of a bitch. Not you. You're not the son of a bitch. I meant me. Like just the situation in general. And let's see. And Pop Tart Gaming, Tremor 6 was my fave, to be honest. Cody Pratt. Hey, Cody. Cody's actually a friend of mine. A real life. You're all friends of mine. I love you all. I don't really know most of you, but I like you. So thank you. I need to have a complete catch up, a marathon and catch up. Thanks, Cody. Smiling. Lots of hearts from Cody. I appreciate that. And then my wife, Caitlin, chiming in with some happy, laughy faces. And Pop Tart Gaming. Make sure you have a whole day planned out. LOL. And so, okay. Thank you. Remember the 80s and 90s. I love the excitement here. Tremors is a niche franchise, and the love here is awesome. That is what we do. That is my whole thing. You can't have a podcast about Tremors and like hate Tremors. Like that's where it's like I am so to get back to the topic at hand. I am so glad to not hate Don. I love you, Don. Um, I gotta do it right now. I gotta text him. Just like hold on. I'm just thank you, but thank you. Remember the 80s and 90s. I have something about Kevin Bacon to tell you too here in a second, but I have to hold on. Oh, okay. And it's down to 2 in Tremor 6. All right, I didn't lose my live. I thought I might lose my live. Like that scared me. Hold on, I got to like. I fucking love you. Wow. Okay, so I had to text Don back. Now my brain is less conbobbled. He's probably gonna text me back though. Thanks, Jet. Really appreciate that. I did, like I said, I did text him and let him know, but I also didn't think that he would be texting me in the middle of my episode about him. But that is the point, like I said, of like just assuming that the people that you're talking about are already there listening and talking. So remember the 80s and 90s has I heard Kevin Bacon wants to come back. You bet your sweet ass he does. And you know what? People like to be like, oh, Kevin Bacon wants to come back because he like lost a whole bunch of money to Bernie Madoff. It's like, yeah, he did. But also, there's a similar thing here where he did what I did with Don Michael Paul. And there's actually a whole shit ton of Tremors video games. Remember the 80s and 90s. Go to the Discord in that link tree. There's like 30 of them. But Kevin Bacon actually did a very similar thing that I did here with Don Michael Paul, where like for the longest time, Tremors was this really bad memory for him. He was having his first kid, like literally, he was having his first kid, his baby with Kira Sedgwick of The Closer, Madam Lunch from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She had the child. It's not Macon. Shit. It's not Sozy. Shit. I can't remember. I think it's Travis Bacon. Um, like Kira had their first baby while he was filming Walter Chang being eaten. Like literally, and it's an anecdote in this book here. What was that? Oh, Tremors 5 trivia. It's glad that's the weirdest thing. There's a shit ton of video games. Remember the 80s and 90s. If you want to find anything about Tremors, go to the Tremor Saga's link tree. It's always in all their profiles everywhere that they have. You will find everything you want. Go to the Discord. There's a Graboid Games thing. Look up the hashtag Graboid Games. You'll find shit tons of them. But Kevin Bacon's first child was had. Yeah, and Egg Shen was. I saw your comment too about he's in big trouble in Little China. Actually, the Confused Breakfast Boys just had a great theory where Egg Shen from Big Trouble in Little China is actually like he got like witness protection into perfection and then got eaten later on. So it was a cute little TikTok that I watched that was pretty funny. Um, and yeah, Kevin Bacon's first child was had while he was like filming the movie, literally filming somebody dying. So he has nightmares about it, and it was terrified him. And for like the longest time, he thought it was a flop. Everybody told him it was a flop. Universal told him it was a flop. Fuck you, Universal or NBC Universal, and didn't make its money back. And so he just thought it didn't do well. And then he actually watched it. He went back and watched it, and it's the only movie that he's ever went back and watched and revisited it. And now he's watched it dozens of times, and he just absolutely loves it. He talks about it being one of the best times he ever like had me. Even before that, when in this book he talks about just like how much fun it was being in Lone Pine, California, and just hanging out with people, making a great movie. And yeah, Kevin Bacon wants back, and special talking Tremors only exclusive. Excuse me. I have this giant thing of water because I really do talk a lot. Also, everybody needs to drink more water in general. Just see this. You should drink this whole thing in a day. Not really. I mean, you drink however much you need, but I do. I drink this whole thing in a day. And that's not even with a podcast. But Michael Gross actually talked about in the intro to Tremors 7, because there's a thing that happens. I'm not going to spoil that for you, 80s and 90s. There's a thing that happens, and there's the concept of Tremors 8 is sort of up in the air right now. And I'll get into it. There's even more I found out. But he was like, I've actually talked to Kevin Bacon, and I have this idea for if we do a Tremors 8, here's how we do it. And Michael said, okay, so if we do a Tremors 8, we do it right. We bring everybody back. We're going to bring the whole gang back, everybody that we can, and we're going to make Tremors 8 a return to form. And that's not the right way to, just everybody. Get the gang back together. That's what I'm thinking of. And just like, that's his pitch for it. And Kevin was like, that's the only way I want to do it. If we're going to bring Tremors back, we bring everybody back. Everybody but Fred Ward, because Fred Ward died. Rest in Graboid. And yeah, and you know what? Remember the 80s and 90s? Tremors is the new Fast and Furious. I mean that. This is my whole goal with everything that I do with Tremors is trying to get people to love Tremors more. And I fucking love Fast and the Furious movies because they're insane. If you think that Tremors is insane, there's fucking the Fast and the Furious. And I want Tremors to be on the level of the Fast and the Furious. There's some things we can change in that formula, but in essence, yes. Trast and Fury. That's Fast and Furious Tremors. Welcome to Tremors TikTok. Actually, Tremors Talk was started by the TikTok Graboid. If you want to find more Tremor stuff, I highly recommend go over to @TikTok Graboid right now. If you're on TikTok, and go check out TikTok Graboid. Daniel Trujillo, I fucking love that guy. He's been on this podcast twice. I met him at Tremors Fest. He's a fantastic dude. And there's only the Tremors saga on TikTok because of Daniel Trujillo. So fucking go TikTok Graboid. Trem and Furious. Wait. Oh, hold on. You're so close. Fast and Tremorous. There we go. That's better. Got the us there at the end. You got to work it in. And see, I was talking about Kevin Bacon, but Kevin Bacon wants back. There's a way to work it in. Yeah. He's like, he's done what I've done here with Don Michael Paul, where you just change your mind. People are allowed to change their minds when when presented with new information. Okay, somebody, Mr. Burley, I can't. Is that Burley? Just a too ass blaster, too furious. That's drive too ass blaster, drive too furious. I'm too ass for you. That's it. That's it. That's gold. Put a stamp on it, and we're done. That's it. That's the one. Um, fucking wow. Mista. Okay. I try to say people's usernames when they're saying stuff, so please forgive me. I try to give everybody their due credit and due. Thank you, people on TikTok. Apparently, you're the only ones listening to me. I'm sorry, you two people. Please come back. I didn't mean to do that to you. So, to the topic at hand, Don Michael Paul. I want to make my own personal. I'm gonna drink some water here because I fucked up. All right, Don, and Jet, and everybody. I have suggested that Don Michael Paul is an inadvertent drug smuggler for Universal, and and you know what? Maybe he is. And I mean, I've always said it's inadvertent. I don't think he was ever doing it, but it was more just like it's one of those like so if we're like, why the fuck is this movie doing this? Why are we going to South Africa and Thailand? Oh, it's because like they're somehow smuggling drugs with the graboids and shit, and it's half joke, half me grasping at straws, trying to figure out why things are fucking insane. Which I've only now really found out is because Universal wants Tremors movies, but they don't give them any money. Um, and you know what? Remember the 80s and 90s? I've actually written a script that's not quite that, but close. Remember the 80s and 90s says, fade in. Kevin Bacon is watching a news report about graboids while at work and blends into the current movie. Pretty good. Not bad. Like I said, if I have the idea, you got the idea, that means the universe, we're all on the same page. It's the thing. But again, I would recommend watching all the other Tremors movies before writing more. But still, good start. And yeah, like I said, I've suggested that Don Michael Paul is an inadvertent drug smuggler. And I would like to apologize for that statement right now. Fuck, man. I'm just, honestly, I would love, I'm not sure about this. I'm not 100% sure, but I would love to smoke a bowl with Don Michael Paul. I'm not, you can tell me if I'm wrong, Jet, or Don. He'll probably text me and be like, yeah, no, let's smoke everything. And just like, fuck. And then just like, shit, you know. So the reason that Tremors went to South Africa and Thailand is just as simple as there's a tax credit. I think he said, it was either a 32% or it's either 32, 35, or 38% tax credit by going to South Africa, which is like, damn, holy shit. Uh, I wish Shrieker Island was Tremor 7, Graboids in Heaven. This isn't Diablo. Um, I don't know if we need to fight Imperius in heaven. That feels like it might just be a step too far, just a little bit. Hey, give me a script and send it my way, and we'll fucking talk. All right, maybe if you can sell it to me, I'll buy anything. I'll buy that for $1. And Jesse's Tacos asks, "How are you?" And how am I? I'm I feel really like fucking manic and weird right now. I really did not think Don would text me in the middle of this episode. Didn't think you'd do that, Don. It's another reason why you're just a fabulous son of a bitch. I remember the 80s and 90s. Jurassic Park nod. Billionaire wants to create a zoo/attraction with all variants. Kevin Bacon is the only survivor left with experience. Bro, you need to watch some more of the movies. I mean, it's just like, I have a good night's sleep, mister. Um, come back if you want to watch the rest of it. It's gonna be on YouTube. YouTube. Go to the Tremor Saga's YouTube. Have a good night's sleep, though, Mister Burley. But remember the 80s and 90s. You're just getting close to basically the plot of some of the later movies. like, I want to be like, oh, you're close. I mean, you're like you got about half of that there. That's basically Shrieker Island, and then another half of that that's actually Tremors 5 Bloodlines. just like, I love you though. Shit. I don't know how to tell you besides like you gotta watch it now. You do. You gotta watch it. And so Don Michael Paul is not a drug smuggler. All right, folks, this is not a thing. We are not saying this anymore. And really, should have never said it in the first place. You know, that's me. That's me being like, hey, let's what could be the magical reason why things suck. Um, and that's why. And I remember 80s and I'm just gonna say 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s says, I hear you. Sadly, I went through a phase where I hated B movies. Ah, bro, you know what a B movie is? A B movie is a movie that just doesn't have a budget. That's all it is. And you know what? You ever man, the reason I love Tremor so much is I grew up on the Sci-Fi Channel and fucking watched the shit out of it. I would watch every single Sci-Fi Channel original movie that would pop up every Saturday, and I would watch them all. It didn't matter how shitty they were. Fucking sign me up. I did, and I just devour them. And so that's where I have a barometer. I would guess I would say of like what's a really shitty movie or something like that. And I mean you gotta be really shitty for me to like actually hate you. Which I have to say I've never really fully done with Tremors 5, 6, and 7. I did make an episode. One of my last 5 episodes was finding the good in Tremors 5, 6, and 7. So it's not just about pure hate. It's always been from my perspective, just like why the fuck did this whole thing happen with Stampede Entertainment, where they got kicked out, and then Don Michael Paul came in, and you know what? And that's where I have been putting all this blame on Don Michael Paul's shoulders, and he deserves none of it. Absolutely none of it. That's where I'm going to point out the NBC Universal executives, but not producers. Uh, there are people with money um, that yeah just want to fuck things up. And thank you for being here. Remember the 80s and 90s. You've got to go. I'll be back for the next live. I don't really have a schedule, but if you ever want to catch up on the episodes, go to the Tremor Saga's YouTube channel. There's a playlist called the Talking Tremors Podcast. That's where all of these end up getting uploaded. And thank you for being here. Thank you for some great questions and great input. I really appreciate you. You've been sharing, you've been liking and sharing away. I don't know what that shit is, so I thank you so much for doing it. Um, yeah, it really, and yes, please go watch them all. Go watch them all, no matter how dumb you think that they are. You're gonna fall in love with them. I promise. And so now I get back to the topic at hand. I don't have, as much as I love people being here, now I get to be focused. That was the first hour of all over the place. Now we're going to be laser focused on this. Quotes. And, there's a thing that I've always been, that the reason that I run my own podcast and nobody gets to tell me what to do when it comes to that, because I have a bit of an outsider's perspective. I've seen everything. I can't say I've been in on it, but I am enough of a researcher, enough of a devout stalker, enough of I will get into the crammy little places and watch people do things that like I can tell what's bullshit and what fucking I am gonna call bullshit on. And well, I have shit on you, Don. I have shit on Tremors 5, 6, and 7 because of a perceived, hey, what are you doing to Tremors? And actually, Don, I appreciated it. So this is where I love you for just saying when we were talking, you could tell that there's this protectiveness that people have for Tremors when it comes to that, of just like, hey, obviously Tremors 1 through 4 was this like 20-year span, and and everybody, all the fans that fell in love with it, uh, feel like they have to like preserve it and protect it and take care of it and stuff, and and which I've done. All right, not gonna. That's not 100%. Um, I feel though, or I hope, my goal. How about that? Has always been to, like I said, call that bullshit. Try to protect the integrity. And this is where I've fallen in love with Don for having an enormous amount of integrity. One of the things that he said that I just chef kissed on was when Patty Jackson first came to Don and was like, "Hey, I want you to direct Tremors movies," and he flat out said, "I don't think I'm the guy for this. I don't think I can do this." And if you don't believe me, if you think that I'm not anything that I'm trying to say here, I don't talk hypothetically. You can go to the Tremor Saga's YouTube page. This is all taken from the Q&As at Tremors Fest. This is all I'm trying to direct quote. Try not to paraphrase as much as possible, and just Don said this, where he's like, "I just don't think I can do that." I just came off Sniper 2, Legacy, Jarhead 2, some words or another. Um, I don't think I'm the right guy for this. And Patty was like, "No, I do. I'm choosing you to like take this." And Patty Jackson's actually been there for a long time with the Tremors franchise. Patty Jackson actually just recently died too, I think, which is I suspect some of the reason that some the newer news might have been happening here. Um, and Don just like flat out being honest about, "Hey, I did what I can with what I got." I love when you were talking to Zoran and he was criticizing you or saying something like that, and you were like, "Hey, what's that thing that Bert says?" And Zoran's like, "Fuck, what it? Ah, shit!" You like caught him on, dude. I did what I can with what I got. Um, and yeah, just I was so taken with this that as I just read from your text messages that you've watched all the movies, seen the TV show, you saw Tremors opening weekend in 1990. I cannot say that you are no less of a fan than anybody else. I've never, that's always been my thing. You are a Tremors fan if you're a Tremors fan. Now, if you're a Burt Gummer fan, we can have a conversation about, hey, what the fuck are you doing sometimes? Because there's some solely Burt Gummer fans that I take umbrage with. And it's not just being a Burt Gummer fan. There's just some types that I take umbrage with. A lot of I'm not here to talk about that. If you're a Tremors fan, you're a Tremors fan. If you don't love Tremors 1 through 4, but you love Tremors 5 through 7, you're a fucking Tremors fan. Who cares? Like that's it. If you only love Tremors 4, you're a Tremors fan. If you only love Tremors 7, you're a Tremors fan. These all count. If you only love ass blasters, you're still a Tremors fan. You are a fan of this. You like this for some reason. Nobody should ever put any kind of stamp on that and be like, you're not allowed into the fandom. You're not allowed to do this. I think that's the weirdest and dumbest thing that people can do sometimes. Um, yeah, and if I swear, if I've ever done that, please forgive me. If I've ever done this on the podcast and I've ever put a box on what can be a Tremors fan, I'm so sorry. My whole point here is that I have tried to inform people. My goal has been to let people know there is this thing that happened. Tremors was made by these specific people for 20 years, and then there was a bunch of weird bullshit that happened behind the scenes that made it so that they didn't make it anymore. And then Don Michael Paul came in, and this is why I wanted to. Oh my God, Don, you fucking bastard! Jesus Christ, Don just texted me. I'm a Tremors fan. I'm a Levi. Oh my God, Don! Just what are you doing? Are you watching? I can't. Ah, I'm fine. All right. I appreciate you. Thank you, man. I don't know how to deal with having your fucking phone number there. It's like I've been messaging Michael Gross for like the last 6 months, and every time I get a message from him, it never goes down. I'm just like, oh my god, Burt Gummer messaged me. Like it doesn't. There's never been a decline of just like, oh, what the fuck. Even when I'm pretty sure that Michael might have like drunk texted me, I'm not really sure about that. Like he just like I hadn't said anything to him at all, and he just like at like 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday was just like, so I'm excited for Tremors Fest. Ron says he's gonna be there. Don't you think it's gonna be a good time? And I was just like, I mean, yes. I sure, yes, yeah. I think it's gonna be great. I can't wait. It was just like, where the fuck did this come from? But I'm a Don Michael Paul fan. To say that, I love you too, Don. I don't know if you're watching, probably somewhere. But yeah, I'm a Don Michael Paul fan. And so one of the things that just I really and I'm assuming that Don, if you're listening, I know you're listening. And Caitlin's here on the TikTok now. Me and my wife kept talking about this. This is like our biggest thing, like our biggest takeaway from Tremors Fest was that we got to meet everybody. Michael Gross sent a specific message to each one of my nephews. Smaje, Burt Gummer here. Sorry you missed out on the critical need to know information. Like, and they all freaked out. I got to show them and stuff. And I dressed up as Steve S.S. Wilson. Which hold on, I gotta do that. Hello, I'm Steve S.S. Wilson, and welcome to Talking Tremors. In this episode, I'm gonna be a Don Michael Paul fan. And yeah, I got to dress up as Steve, with Steve standing there, like staring at me, like, what the fuck is up with you? And the biggest thing, the biggest thing that I took away from this, and I hope Don, you are listening right here at this moment, is that my heart broke in two, and so did Caitlin's. We were just talking about this 2 hours ago when she got off work. That you have never got to interact with the Stampede Entertainment team. That fucking kills me and blows everything I think out of the water. I still, and I can't say everything because I still have some gripes with NBC Universal executives. I think they're marketing executives. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've talked to Todd. I've talked to Cher. They're all great people. I don't think any producers of the actual movies. I mean, money people. NBC Universal. Whoever decided that giving you a budget of $3.8 million when the budget for Tremors 2 was $4 million in 1996. I don't know inflation, but that feel like doing a movie in 96 and then doing a movie in 2014 and they have the same budget. It feels difficult and different to me. I have questions. I've questioned that if I spoke to a marketing executive, would be like, "What are you doing? Why do you want more Tremors movies, but you're not putting money into it? This doesn't make any sense." And even more so, because I literally 2 days ago, because I told you this, Don, but I searched Tremors for 2 to 4 hours every day. I usually search it in the morning from about 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Then I sleep for a little bit and then wake up, and then I search it at night for a couple hours if I feel like it. But I do. I search Tremors for 2 to 4 hours. I term search the word Tremors for 2 to 4 hours on every single social media site that I can every day, pretty much every day, unless I'm busy doing something. And I just found this one on 2 days ago on YouTube where there was a trailer for Tremors 3 that it was the regular trailers for Tremors 3, but it had this at the start. And this was a trailer that they released where it was like, Tremors 1 and 2 have made over $50 million in revenue with a 200% return on investment. And now Tremors 3, like, and it's like, I was just like, excuse me, hold on, wait a second. Universal marketing executive people, what the fuck is this? because y'all are telling me that Tremors has never made any money. I was just talking to Michelle Wilson at Tremors Fest, and we had this conversation about like, oh no, Steve's always saying that like Tremors has never turned a profit. The studio always tells him that Tremors has never turned a profit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this trailer then? That's like boasting about how much money fucking Tremors 1 and 2 have made. Which, if you think about it, is huge because Tremors 1 is an $11 million budget movie, and then Tremors 2 is a $4 million budget movie. So that's $15 million, and they made $50 million. Fucking, that is, I don't know percentage numbers, but 200% return on investment seems about right. And just like, what? You can't, what? You're obviously fucking making money to the point that you're telling people you made money. Okay, dial it down, Levi. Just breathe. You got off track for a second. No, you didn't. I didn't get off track. That was completely on track. I just didn't think I would get so manic. And all of this like bullshit money stuff, I got off track because I was talking about NBC Universal, and I'm only trying to bring them up, Don, because I noticed a disdain when you were giving your Q&As for, and the way you said it was like, because you went Universal and then you like corrected yourself and you went NBC Universal, and it was like, oh, okay. And I've known I talked about this earlier. I'm actually good friends with Dan Harmon of Community and Rick and Morty. Uh, I watched as that whole thing happened where he got kicked out and then brought back into Community, and then Community got canceled, and then Community's on Yahoo, and it was all NBC. It's all this NBC bullshit, and so it's NBC Universal. I have questions. I just have questions, and so I did. I really got off track there because I do. So like I said, I have my own podcast. Nobody gets to tell me what to do. I make no money, and I'm proud to make no money because then nobody gets to fucking tell me what to do. It's a whole thing. You can pay me to do other things, but this you will never. I will never see a dime, and that is my prerogative. Um, Fuck you guys. And we're gonna get into this because I want to talk about the writer strike and AI stuff here a little bit. And just knowing that Don, you have never got to see Stampede. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Austin Eaton. How do you find the TV show? I'm trying to do a rewatch with those. Check out Tubi or go to the Tremors link tree. There's a Vimeo. Go to Vimeo, look up Tremors the series. Hopefully you can find it there. Or there's the DVDs on Amazon. They're only like $12. I highly recommend that because that's a great way of showing the marketing people that that's a format of Tremors that you want is Tremors the series. Um, but yes, it kills me. And Caitlin and I were talking about this so much, Don. Like we just couldn't shut about it. That like, why in the fuck have you never got to be in the same room as Steve and Ron and Brent? And it was really cool that like Glenn texted Brent, and Brent sent that one back where he really appreciates you. Oh, cool! I'm glad I didn't miss you, Austin. Thank you. You're always welcome. Always. Um, and like I said, I have a theory. I have a person. I have one person. And I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna make a separate episode about that. About why, but why? And because I was thinking like you got Michael Gross here. Like how has Michael not been able to put you guys in the same room together? Steve talks about how he was at a screening for Tremors 5 like when it was first released, and yet you guys didn't meet. Steve has talked about giving several interviews about like Universal almost seems to have like kept you guys away from each other, or again somebody. I have a theory, um, and just like it killed me. It killed, and I want Caitlin actually specifically wanted me to say that too, for her, where she's like, um, it's just hurt. It was just like, she actually brought. She had a great metaphor for it, where it felt like Tremors Fest felt like, um, being at an event with your divorced parents, and like we as Tremors fans are like the kids. And it was like there was one day, 2 days where we got to hang out with mom. We were at the water park with mom for like 2 days, and it was a great time. And we're hanging out with mom at the water park, and then mom left, and dad showed up, and then we hung out with dad on Sunday at the water park. And I talked about this with Paige Allen on the Run for Your Lives podcast. He agreed too. We're just like, yeah, it was really fucking weird, man. Like, just, and it killed me to no end knowing that some force has kept you apart. Because I told you this, Don. Where I think I think it would be so cool to have Ron Underwood and Don Michael Paul in the same Ron and Don talking about, because I think you guys have very similar directors, or not not similar director styles, but I think that you both have similar backgrounds of working with smaller scale productions and doing a lot with a little. Like that's what I get from both of you guys, is that you're very intuitively creative, and I think you guys could just swap stories about like how hard it is being a director and working on the fly and shit like that. And I just it would as a Tremors fan, and it's Don just texted me, I'm a Tremors fan. God, that would just be the coolest fucking thing, man. And Don, I know you're listening. I'm still working on that. I have not given up on that. Just it takes time. Honestly, I'm still, but everybody just. I think they all got Tremors fested out, and I actually, just like it took me a while to make this episode and talk about you and send that to you. I want to give it a minute. I want to give it a minute, give everybody a little space to breathe, and then I will push that issue, because it is an issue I want to push, and it's actually something I want to ask Michael. I've got Michael's ear now, where it's just like, hey, so as the middle child in this divorce, like, what the fuck what are you seeing? What do you think's going on here? Um, because he did. I felt it. Like I loved Tremors Fest. It was awesome. It was great. But that Sunday, that switch between Saturday and Sunday, it was just like, why? Why is this happening? And I've spoken to Steve enough times to know that I don't feel it's on their end. I don't feel it's on like Stampede's end trying to avoid you. And maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But that's from what I know of him being such a kind person. Same with Ron. Doesn't seem like they're purposely trying to avoid you. It feels like there's something there happening. Um, Again, I hope I'm not. I'd love to be. I hope I'm not right. Like that would just be horrible. I hope I'm right about my theory about the one person. Because while I may have been only working at this Tremors thing for like maybe 2, 3 years at max, there's another person who's been at it a little longer. I just don't trust a lot. And I've had enough behind the scenes interactions to just be like, I just don't trust those motives there. Um, yeah, I keep wanting to get to it, but I don't want to yet. It's a very specific thing that I want to talk about. If you want to text me, Don, we can talk about it like that. But even then, I'd still questions. And yeah, to learn that Don Michael Paul would love to work with, and I gotta say this. So, Jet or Don, if you're still listening, I have talked about this on the podcast before. This is not a new thought, but my dream, in terms of having known everything that's happened here with Stampede getting kicked out and then you coming in, I have always wanted you to direct a Tremors movie and those guys to write and produce it. Oh my fucking god, that would be awesome. Because Caitlin and I talk about this all the time every time we watch one of your movies, because I'm watching them. I watch all the Tremors movies all the time. I don't know, they're all the same to me. You're just fucking beautiful. I talked about this at the start of the episode, but man, you just got this eye. And it's fantastic. And that's, I'm not shitting on Ron either, whatever. It's just more, I think that your directorial style, the big bombasticness, really lends itself to Tremors but you need a good writing foundation underneath. I think that's, if I would please, I know you're listening now. If I were to, that's gonna be my critique on in terms of anything I have to say about Tremors 5, 6, and 7 from now on. It's just like that writing. It just doesn't slam out of the park for me. And I think that was actually it. To get real with you, Don, I think that is, if you were to get down to it, why people have a problem with 5, 6, and 7 is that I don't think whoever put you in charge of it or whoever was letting you know things really lets you know that Tremors is a writer's franchise. It's such a rare thing that I say that where you're just like, a writer's franchise? What the fuck does that mean? It's like there is such a deep, heavy foundation of lore and everything written in that I think you came into it. I was just talking to Caitlin about this with your arm tied behind your back and your leg tied to your other leg. Of just like this is writers, Steve and Brent, like especially I always go back to Steve, where Steve just lived and breathed this. And it's not your fault, man. Steve was answering every fucking question on that Stampede Entertainment fact site for years. Holy shit. He was answering questions. And that was after fucking Tremors 4 came out from like 2008 up till now. He's still answering questions. And just like you came into somebody gave you the idea that hey, you're gonna direct this or you're gonna reboot it, soft reboot it in essence, and just like nobody gave you the proper information of like, yo, bro, man, this is like a writer's thing, and I think John did it. John came from Stampede. He had written 3, and I think he did. I think he did a fair enough job. I think that's actually why I tend to Tremors 5 a little more, and also because Tremors 5 has the foundational script of Stampede's original Tremors 5 Gummer Down Under, and I think that might, while 6 is more my favorite, Tremors 5 has it's a stronger movie because it has the writer's foundation. And hey Don, you're a director. That's bro, man. That's fine. I'm not putting that shit on you, dude. Um, Honestly, I'm putting that shit on the people who didn't give you enough tools. That be my, like, you've got a great tool set, but I think there's some people who could have given you a better one. Um, and really, they did. They chopped off your leg going forward. Which is, I was watching Tremor 7 and you wrote it, and I was just like, man, and there's a couple of things here that we could have questions about. And it wasn't filters. I know I had talked to you about the fucking filters at Tremors Fest, and I was like, you know what? It's a cinematic vision. We'll give you that pass or whatever. There was some writers things. I know Brian Brightly helped you out with that too. It was just like I did but okay. This is my one thing about Tremor 7. I will say, people need names. we don't bow tie and Wall Street and Mohawk and Pretty Boy. I know we don't ever learn people's names, although Anna does say their names. I mean, from a writer's perspective, let's try to give people names and such. And I do. I think, and honestly, I was watching Tremor 7, and my biggest thing, and I think a lot of people talk about this. I know Zoran has talked about this, where the absence of Jamie Kennedy is it's absolutely felt. And I know I've watched Jamie's video where he says he really got lowballed on the offer for Tremor 7, which is why he didn't come back. And I guess I get it. I'm not. I mean, sure, would I love it if Jamie had been like, hey, let's take a pay cut and still be in Tremors 7 and then lead Tremors going forward? Yeah, sure, man. But you know what? Hey, we all got to eat. You don't run a podcast where you choose to have no money. So, like, hey, whatever, Jamie, do your thing. I get it. I'm not here to criticize people's financial choices. Well, okay, I'm here to criticize NBC Universal's financial choices, but they're not a person. They're multiple people or a board executive. And I've been on enough boards. See, that's where I get to speak to that, where it's like, I mean, man, people will make some real shit financial decisions because they just can't see to the future. They can't. It's all about how do we get that return on investment right now. Uh, which screw you, Tremors 3 commercial trailer. You lied. Um, and and I could tell watching Tremors 7 that while originally you had an arm behind your back and a leg tie, now you had both arms and you had zero legs, and somebody had blindfolded you, and you were trying to make a movie that clearly needed the Travis Welker character. He was not there, and it everything everything that should land in that movie if Travis was there, just I I kept wanting like, and I never had that with Tremors 5. I never had that with 6, but it was just like, where's that's I can tell that there's this person there that needs to be there, and he's not. And I've actually said this before in multiple times, where if you guys had just went like, okay, so John Heater is Travis, if you had just done a Marvel style recast, Don Cheadle for Terrence Howard, and just had Jimmy show up and been like, yeah, I'm here, it's me, let's not talk about it, and just keep going forward, I would have been like, all right, fuck it. I've seen weirder. Fucking technically, Tremors the series does it. You got Jodie Chang. There's Susan Chawang in Tremors 3, and then Leela Lee shows up in Tremors the series, and we just say, fuck it. Marsha Strassman replaces Charlotte Stewart in Tremors the series, and we just say, fuck it, and just keep going. And I have to say, all four of those people do fabulous jobs interpreting the character in different ways that they do. I think that's more fun. You just kind of have I think our brains as humans can understand a change of face more than we can understand a change of story. I think there's a level of like, so you when you depict a young person on screen and then you age them up, and there's like an 18-year-old and then you've got an 80-year-old. They're played by different people, and your brain goes like, well, I know that they're different people, but they're the same person. I don't know. I think because we all change over time, we all look different. That's how that works. Which, speaking of Don, like, holy shit, I was looking at some old pictures of you, totally different. This is my point. Just like, holy shit, what the smoke show. Not that you don't look great now, but I was like, damn, that's some surfer bod. Uh, yeah, so that's if you had just Marvel style recast it, I think the world would be a better place on that. But I don't know, man. That's me. That's me with the benefit of hindsight, being able to tell you that. But going forward here, when I watch Tremors 5, 6, and 7, or I have any criticism, I'm gonna take it from a writer's perspective. Cause I cannot fault some director. God damn. Watching those movies on the big screen just really gave me a like fucking magnificent, beautiful. And I know everybody watching this on YouTube and TikTok is like, but I can't watch Tremors on the big screen, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry because you're missing out. Like, and Tremors 1 through 4 were fucking fantastic on the big screen. I think Tremors 2 was actually one of the best ones on the big screen. Like that one should have been a theatrical release, and I think Steve did a fantastic fucking job directing that and doing the same thing that I said. Where it's not honestly, Don, you've got a bigger thing. Where with Steve, I could tell there was this like great because he comes from the Ray Harryhausen motion school of like technicalness to it. So you could see the storyboarding and just like I know how this is gonna look, and just not blowing it up big like you did, but almost microscoping it. So then when you like see it on the big screen, it's like, it's huge. I think Tremors 2 and Tremors 4. I have to say too, Don. Tremors 4 is my favorite Tremors movie. So let that inform anybody's decision about my opinion. That because Tremors 4 is the best fucking Tremors movie of all time. mean that, and I will. I told Sarah Botsford that. I don't think she believed me, but it was like, what was really funny because I had. Let's speak of which I gotta point these out. My mom made these Tremors pants, which is so fucking cool. Like actual pants with Tremor stuff on it, like legit. And she made one for me, and then she made one for my wife Caitlin too. Tremors pants. We got them all signed. Oh, and there's a back to them too. Because why not? And I love she got 412 on there. And then there's the Beetlejuice and the Dune Worms too, which is one of those I love like as a mom thing, where she's like she looked up graboids on the internet, like she just Googled it, and then the Beetlejuice and the Dune Worm showed up. It's like of course they did because that's how that works. It's such a mom thing to do. But yeah, she made these pants or whatever. And I think they're fantastic. Um, but it was funny. The first time I met Sarah Botsford, I had these pants on, and I was talking to like I walked by Sarah, and I can't even remember what the yeah, no, because I was in and out of the Tremors Lounge, and I walked by Sarah, and she was talking to Michelle, and Michelle stopped me. She's like, "Oh, but like, what are your pants? What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, my mom made me these Tremors pants." And Sarah was like, "Oh, those are really cool. Do you know your fly is down?" I was like, "Oh, fucking shit. Okay." And zipped my fly up really quick. And I was like, I went to the bathroom like an hour ago. So who knows how long that was happening. And I was like, thank you, Sarah Botford. Fuck, Tremors 4 is my favorite Tremors movie. And you're telling me my fly is down. That's great. That's awesome. So that was my first interaction with her. And then actually, and then I told her too. I was like, yeah, because I've done a lot of theater, and there would actually have to be a person because I would. There's so many. I did cabaret, and I was the MC in cabaret, and I had like 18 costume changes, and there had to be someone on the wings to check and make sure my fly was up because I would forget. I would constantly. I would get the button up, and then I'd be running to the other side, and I would forget that my fly was down, and I'd walk out on stage, and I was like, "Oh, I just did that with Sarah Botsford." Shit. And yeah, so Tremors 4 is my favorite Tremors movie. It's just fantastic. I'm sorry. And Tremors 4 Tremors 1 is a perfect movie, but that doesn't matter to me. Tremors 4 is the best one. And yeah, cinematically beautiful. And yeah, what you do, Don, is beautiful. Um, I got talking about how beautiful fucking Tremors movies are, and I'm sorry nobody. We're gonna have Tremors Fest again, and we're gonna do it year after year after year after year. So if you didn't get to go this year, I promise you, with the best of my abilities, that like we're gonna get you into a theater to see Tremors again. Hello to you, Jet Smith, JT Smith. I hope you're not like Jet Paul with another name. Although I assume Jet's been listening this whole time. Um, all right. So talk about how Don Michael Paul is a great guy, and I don't think I talked about that enough. But if you want to see what I mean by Don Michael Paul is a great guy, go to the Tremors Saga's YouTube channel. Check out the Tremors Q&A. He did one for 5 and 6, and then it was funny. I walked up to him after Tremors 7, and I was like, "Hey, are you gonna do a Q&A for Tremors 7?" He's like, "I don't think there's anyone around to listen." And I was like, "I am. I got my like, let's. I will listen to you talk about fucking Tremor 7 all day. I've been waiting for this one, man. This is the one you better have stories about because this is important." And he didn't. And that's where it was like, well, I guess you'll have to have me on the podcast. And it's like, son of a bitch. I'm the son of a bitch, not you guys. You guys are great. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, Don, just I could not talk about you. I told Michael this because Michael and I were talking, and he's like, "Oh, say hi to Don for me. He's just a fantastic guy." And I was like, and this was before I met you. I was like, okay, we'll see how I feel about that. And then I met you, and I messaged Michael that night, and I was like, you know what? Don Michael Paul was almost nicer. I said kinder because Michael Gross is the kindest And I was like, Michael Gross is almost kinder than you, and that is a hell of a feat. Like, and if you at Tremors Fest, Michael Gross was fan, and I use the word fantastic because he was only there for one day, but he stayed way longer than he needed to the point where Elsa Gross was like waiting outside the Tremors Lounge, and she wasn't like tutting, she was just like, Michael, I am like really tired. Can we like go home? Like you were talking to everyone, and you were talking so long, and I think it's great. You're in your element, and this is and Elsa's fantastic. I love talking to Elsa. I talked to her a couple of times, and she stayed the whole weekend. Michael had to leave after Friday, but she stayed for every single movie, and she was laughing and cackling and enjoying herself so much. So it wasn't like she didn't want to be there. It was just like, and I'm only saying this because I know Caitlin was doing the same thing. She's like, I am so tired. Can we just like go, please? I can. I don't want you to stop because you're having so much fun, but please, I'm really tired. And so thank you, Elsa, for sharing Michael with us. I appreciate you so much. I know everybody else does too. But Michael Gross is one of the kindest people I've ever met. I mean, in general, I don't think I've really met any much of celebrities, uh, but I would say that Michael Gross is at the tippity top there. Um, so kind. But Don, yeah, God, you knocked it out of the fucking ballpark, man. And you, I don't know if you knew there was some expectation there, and you were trying to overcome it because you thought everybody was gonna hate you, but you just went, fuck yeah, Tremors fans, and you just, you plowed that fucker into the left field. Um, yeah, I could have listened to Don Michael Paul stories just forever. Um, I'm a Don Michael Paul fan. I said it. I said it. And it's not just because he said he's a Levi fan. I'm a Don Michael Paul fan. And I feel like there was something else I was trying to say with that. Oh, okay. I gotta say this was really funny. I because Zoran and I both revealed to you at separate points that like we've trashed you a lot, and I loved when Zoran was interviewing me, and you came up behind Megan, and you were just like, I'm trying to fuck you up right now. I'm trying to freak out Zoran and Levi. I don't know what you were saying to him, but you just. It's just like you. I saw. I know Zoran did too. Where you're like, okay, this is fair. That's fair. Like we both had that coming. Good job. uh, and yeah, the P jokes. Although I'll say this, Don, and this is you can text me and we can have this conversation, or we can talk about it in the podcast. But this is where I say like somebody tied your hands behind your back when it came to those movies. So there's this thing in Tremors 7 that I want to talk about that I would definitely criticize. So graboids are a creature that can only hunt by vibration. That's what they do. That's what they're known for. Graboids and sound. You have a man who's going out to a toilet to be eaten, or to pee, with spoilers. He's going out to the toilet to pee, and it's in the middle of a monsoon thunderstorm. You are in Thailand, and it is thundering and lightning and raining and storming and and this guy, he's not making much sound. He's kind of walking a little bit drunk. There's a bridge and stuff, and this graboid finds him and then eats him, and it's in a toilet, and it's a little gratuitous, but I don't know. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm giving you a pass on the director stuff because it's just like I get what you're going for, but on the writers thing, I do have to point this out that graboids being a creature that hunts only by sound, when it's raining or it's storming out, it it kind of negates that in general. They can't hear shit. It's like if somebody put a white noise machine up to your ears and your eyes too, and Steve actually talks about this on the Stampede Entertainment fact site because people have asked him. And graboids, when it's raining, when it's storming, they actually go deep. They hide. They don't do anything because they literally just can't. This is also why they don't go near cities and they don't do that kind of thing. There's just way too much noise. This is established in the first one with the bombs, where I don't think it does scare them. It hurts them. They're so sensitive to sound. They have to run. And they just can't do it. They just can't do it, and they run and they hide. So when it's storming out and there's lightning and there's rain, they dive. So I have a problem with that. That guy should not have been eaten. That graboid should have been nowhere nearby in the middle of a storm. I get it. It's cool. The lightning, the rain, is bullshit. And if you want to tell me I'm wrong, because I've always had a thought, maybe these graboids are just so hypersensitive to sound that like they're able to pinpoint this guy and find him. Oh, which brings me that was one of the things. So what something that people criticize about Tremors 5 is that Michael Gross, programmer, fucks up the HK91, HK41 thing. And Don actually brought this up in his Q&A, and he was actually talking about how like Michael, it just kills Michael that like they fucked it up, and just like, oh man, it's written in ink, that is forever. Um, we fucked that up. And I was standing there. I was like, but hey, I've always, I had canon it that like he's got heat exhaustion and like he messed up the HK41, HK91. He's just talking and he just messed it up or whatever. And Don was like, yeah, no, I mean that's good, but no, he fucked it up. Like it just, I love Don just be like, that's not bad, but no, he fucked it up, and Michael just can't forgive himself, and I should have caught it, and we didn't catch it. And I was like, here I am as your biggest detractor and feeding you shit, and you're still like, no, I got it. Now we fucked that up. It's like that, yeah. Bravo. So maybe this lightning storming in thing will chalk that up to an HK41 mistake. How about that? That's my shit. I lost my cap. So like I said, Don's got this enthusiasm. Don cares. Don's working for it. I know willing to compromise, wants to meet Stampede Entertainment, hasn't been able to meet Stampede Entertainment. You're fucking texting me right now, Don. Just making sure. Yeah, I still can't. I'm a Tremors fan. I'm a Levi fan. I feel bad I'm not texting you back right now, Don. But I will. I promise. It's really hard to do it in the middle of a podcast. Just as a point of fact, just so Don knows, this is my phone. So I have the internet hotspot running off my phone. And then, so I've got one tablet recording regular footage as well as audio footage. And these are just tablets. And then I have another tablet over here that's running the YouTube. So I've got two tablets running, and one's Caitlin's and one's mine, so we can each have one. And then I've got the TikTok live running while I've got the YouTube hotspot running. And I got my regular microphone there. Actually, my mom bought me this mic. I think it was just, she like listened to the podcast, and she's kind of deaf. And she was like, I can't always tell what you're saying, so can you have a better microphone? I was like, oh, thank you, Mom. And then that's actually Caitlin's ring light that she bought for our wedding, so she didn't buy it just for our wedding. She bought it in general to like do things like this. As she says, she bought it to make me do things like this, which I get it. She's very supportive, um, which I appreciate. Thank you. Shit, I hope I put that back in the right spot. And so yeah, I can't text you back right now, Don. I don't have. I'm running everything off of my phone. It's very difficult. I'm afraid if I text you, then I lose the TikTok live. So we got, Don's a great guy. I'm Don, Michael Paul's nemesis. That was hilarious to me. Like that, that was. I didn't talk about that. like the last thing, um, like I was actually looking for you, but then you were like yelling, "Where's Levi? Where's my nemesis at?" And it was like, "Hey, there you are." Which, by the way, I hope you enjoyed that wine that I gave you, and I hope that you planted those sunflower seeds. I know that that seems so dumb and stupid, and people are probably like, "What the fuck?" But I have this personal thing that, like, if you go to see actors or directors or famous people or anything like this, that when you just have them sign stuff, I mean, that's cool, great, awesome, thank you guys or whatever. I'm not saying that sarcastically about that. I'm saying that about fans, where it's like, oh, you're just having them sign stuff. You know, they've already given you so much in terms of like it takes a lot to film a movie, then you got to promote a movie, and now they're even here signing your shit, and they're giving you stuff. They are giving you a part of themselves. And as a fan, it's very selfish to just say, take. And so I actually have this thing where, like, if I ever go to meet anybody, I always try to bring them something because you guys have given us so much entertainment over the years that, like, why can't I give you something back? Which I hope that this podcast is one of those things, but it's probably not. But I ended up giving a bottle of wine and sunflower seeds to pretty much all of the cast and crew. I actually gave the wine to I don't want I'm not trying to the big people, but like the creators, which it was gave one to Michael and Ron and Steve and Glenn and Don, because that's Glenn's was for Brent. And I also gave one to Zoran because Zoran just creator. I should have given one to Dan, but he didn't seem the type at the time. But I gave sunflower seeds to everybody because in my mind, this metaphor was that like, so you have intoxicated us with your entertainment, and we have been drunk on your entertainment. So here's my drink for you to be drunk on my fandom. And then you have changed our lives. You have enriched us and made us grow. So here's a plant that will enrich your lives and grow and change you. And you'll probably look at it and be like, "Oh my God, Levi is fucking weird." When you'll see these sunflowers growing, and you'll be like, "What the fuck is that person?" And I want you to see it and think of it. And I'm like your own personal Tremors movie of just like, wow. So there's some good in the world. That's nice. Look at that. Like it's not. I'm not just an actor, director, writer, creator, producer, just giving to these people. Someone's giving back to me. There's a sense of give and take here. Uh, as I said that, I thought that was corny, but then I was like, actually, that's kind of beautiful. I'm not even trying to toot my own horn. It's just like, it's actually pretty good. Uh, Good job, me. Like that. I'd pat myself on the back if I felt like it. But yeah, you should. I'd say that. I guess I'm saying that because I should. That's for all fans of anything. Like if you go to meet somebody, give them something. Don't just have them sign your books, which is great. I mean, I get it, but like give them something. They've given you something. Give them something back. And I hope, Don, I hope you drank that bottle of wine. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you plant those sunflower seeds and you look at them and go, there's that fucking crazy Levi person over there. Wow, I really like Tremors. I'm a Tremors fan. So that was cool. Uh, Thank you again to Vanek for the name of the episode. Don Michael Paul ain't half bad, because he ain't. Going through. Shit, I think I hit it all. Okay, so I'm reaching like that 2 hour mark here, and I had a thing I want to talk about. Let me decide here in the moment if I want to. It's topical enough. I think it's good. So okay, so there's this. All right, so I have spent the last 3 years on a journey with Tremors. And the whole reason I have ascribed this anger to Don Michael Paul is because, Stampede made these movies, made everything about him for years and years. And then Don came in, and it's easy to blame him. Um, and Steve has talked about this a lot, but like I would like to talk about studios and marketing executives And I guess the thing that I wanted to like sort of wrap here was that I talked earlier about how Don, you came into a writer's franchise, and I don't think anybody let you onto that, or it wasn't made clear to you. If I'm wrong, again, text me, let me know. Um, and I think we need to cherish writing. Writing is incredibly important, and maybe I'm just saying that because I myself am a writer. If you want, Don, I just like let you see how fucking nutso I am. You know, shit. A, I gave a Tremors presentation like a week before Tremors Fest, like legitimately making Tremors is a whole thing. I gave a whole presentation about it. Literally a week before Tremors Fest. So you got to write stuff. And for this podcast, one of the things that I love to do is I make notes. I give copious amount. Jesus, I got so many papers from Tremors Fest in there. But like this is all. This is actually a shrieking grab blaster. I always put my money where my mouth is, and I say mix masters dope. And this is if you can bind a graboid, a shrieker, and an ass blaster into one monster. What do you get? Is that I would lose one tongue. I need to redraw this, and it needs to only have one tongue. But this is the basic concept. Um, I have all these notes. These are all notes about tremors. All of this, all notes, all writing. I don't know if you can see it on YouTube as much as TikTok, but these are all. There's a blank page, but these are all notes on this podcast. Everyone that I do, every movie that I've watched. I haven't done Tremors 1, 2, and 3. I've gone backwards from Tremors 7 uh, into the past, and I haven't done 1, 2, 3 because I feel like everybody else has done that, and I'll get to it eventually. Um, but yeah, this writing, right. Very important. I even wrote when Fred Ward died. I called it Earl's Epilogue, and I performed it myself too, where I was Burt Gummer and I was Earl Bassett, and it was the two of them having a phone call, conversation, and it was kind of cool and deep, and what was happening later on, and they're having a talk to talk, sort of like they do in Tremors 2. And I think writing is an incredibly important thing that we are missing out in this day and age. And I don't know what the fuck this has to do with Don Michael Paul. I'm bringing it. I'm figuring it out there. It'll come to me. Um, and I think it's an important discussion to have. What we're having right now. That directors are great. Directors are awesome. But we got to cherish and value our writers. They are Michael Gross, I always love what he talks about. When there's a Bible verse, I don't know if he's hyper religious either. Too, I think he just likes it. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God. Something like that. And it's just it is so important that like you have to get this foundation right before you even step out to make a movie. You've got to know what you're saying, what you're doing. You can maybe Judd Apatow improvise some funny lines and stuff, but you've got to know what you're doing. They talk about it with Tremors 1, especially, where it's just like, man, they storyboarded the hell out of everything. And if you're making an effects movie, you've got to write it, storyboard it, get it all out there beforehand. Otherwise, you're just gonna fuck it up, man. You gotta. It's a roadmap. It's a plot line. It's a map. Like currently, right now, I don't. I did not write any of this out, so I don't have a fucking map. So I don't know where I'm going. And thankfully, this is a podcast, and it's just me, sort of, kind of, and I can make it up as I go. And I have a lot of experience in doing that. But also at the same time, if I knew what I was doing, and I actually specifically went into this with not writing anything, I wanted to talk very off the heart, um, and just like you gotta know, man. And I think this whole like AI fucking bullshit is. I know where. Okay, I got it. Like Tremors has always been a barometer of its times. It has been a look around and a look into the past and been like, okay, so what has been done before? How do we one up that? How do we flip the script? What is subversion? How do we deconstruct that kind of thing? And I think Don, I know you're listening. I think you were disserviced by not having a great writing foundation. That I think there's a level of like that's not right either. Where like Tremors becoming this sort of actiony one-liner franchise, and it's not one-liners. Like that's where like there's so many great quotes in those first four movies and TV shows, and that's not like there's not good quotes in the 5, 6, and 7, but like watching Tremors 1 through 4 in the movie theater and hearing everybody fucking pop along on their favorite ones, just pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it. It's not one-liners. There's a great one-liner has to be built up to. Um, there's a there's a call and response. This is actually something that I thought was really good in Tremor 7, where Bill says he's gonna piss like a puppy, stay on porch. And then Bert actually had said that in Tremor 6. Oh, if you're gonna piss like a puppy, stay on the porch. And I was just thinking about it earlier. It was like, so is there some like TV show or movie in your universe where like John Wayne like just like, if you're gonna piss like a puppy, stay on the porch. And just like these guys had watched that movie or TV show, and they picked up that phrase, and they're two older guys that kind of it worked for me. Like it's a really kind of stupid line or whatever, but it was like I don't know, like the conjoining thread in Tremor 7 is that Bill and Bert are similar. They're supposed to be. I would imagine that seemed to be the idea that they are opposite sides of the same coin, and just like they both watched that John Wayne movie, whatever. I just want to say it. Here, a little piece of puppy, stay on the porch. That's not my Bill. That's my John Wayne. I don't do a good John Wayne. I'm trying to think of that now. I can't shit. I just lost it. um, but then, and I think this was what people would criticize about Jamie Kennedy coming into it, where it starts to be referencey. Like you start referencing other movies and stuff, and there's this thing that happens where your mind's eye gets drawn to that other movie when you reference something just because it's easy, just um, it's just like right there. Then I, it, it devalues it. It devalues both in a way. It seems. Um, I have, you know, I love Jurassic Park. I do, man. I don't know about that Jurassic Park homage in Tremors 5. We get a little. I love you, Don. I'm not trying to. I'm not. It just feels gratuitous to me. I actually. So I did my Tremors 5 episode, and I called it Tremors 5, the chronicling of bloodlines in Jurassic Rim, because it seems like there's just references. It's all of these references to Universal properties, which I thought was odd. Was just all Universal properties, and I did think that there was some scheme there, but I think it's more just that's easy. We all know those. Those are things there. Um, but it's almost AI. I guess that's what I'm trying to say with that. Where it's just like it feels like Tremors became what marketing executives want and not what Don Michael Paul wanted, which is I would love that. That's why I really like Tremor 6. It feels very DMP, and then Tremor 7 up until that ending, uh, which Don he did film it two ways. And if I oh man Don, if when you're listening, whenever you do listen to this, if you could do me a real solid and send me that other ending, I'd so appreciate it, like a bunch. And it can be secret, and nobody ever has to know that it was you. You can just send it to me, and I will just you know do my thing, and I will let other people know that it exists by showing. Because I don't believe it's secrets. There's a grand total of one secret that I keep, and one day I will reveal that one. But other than that, everything else is fair game. And I think that's the one secret that I have is more of an open secret. If you've figured it out, you've figured it out, and good for you. But other than that, you just I like every. I'm the one that found the Kevin Bacon pilot script and leaked it. I'm the one that found the Tremors 2 script and leaked it. I'm the one that found the Tremors 5 script and leaked it. If you get it to me, man, I don't give a shit. Everybody gets to see it. Uh, like I said, there's that. Like I said, that other thing we'll talk about with that one person. I'm waiting. I'm not. It's not a secret. I'm just waiting for a specific time. Um, and and I do. I think Tremors has become a parody of itself, which is not what it should be. I guess it should be a parody of other things. It should be an homage, a satire of other things. Um, and yeah, I just wanted to speak about the sad state of where we're at with that. I know it's not much to do with Don Michael Paul. I was kind of halfway tying it in, but I wanted to talk about it because I haven't been on live in a while. I just wanted to say it. Uh, it felt relevant to the conversation, and maybe it was. Somebody else will pick out what I meant there. Maybe in another episode, I'll figure out what I was saying in this one, and then I'll correct myself. I'm pretty good about that. I fucking remember everything. Everything. Oh, my brain. It just hurts sometimes. You don't want to live in here because I do. I just keep it. If you say something to me, steel trap. It doesn't matter. So good at what I do here. I just remember everything. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna pin it. Feels like me saying that feels like a good spot to drop it. Uh, oh my god! Remember the '80s and '90s came back? Jesus Christ! That's how long I've been doing this. Um, you missed a lot, '80s and '90s. You missed a lot. Um, and yeah, so we'll go. I'm just thinking in my brain here. Don Michael Paul's great. Love you, Jet Paul. Didn't expect that. Thanks for texting. Um, man, I wish Don and Stampede could get together. I'm still working. That's gonna be my big goal here, trying to get those guys in the same room. Um, doom, doom, doom. I have to say this too, just as a random aside. I don't like George R. R. Martin. All right, like I know this seems a weird thing to say, but he's the one that hosted, and like I just got the weirdest like vibe from him, man. Honestly, it was the vibe I got, and then watching the videos back and stuff, he like shushes these kids away from the graboid cake. That's very like an old witch. Just like, yeah, get away from the cake, children. Nah, I must get my picture now. And I was just like, hey, bro, go write your fucking book, man. You can. Here we are having a conversation about AI writing shit. Go write your book. Fucking go write it, man. And that's not even like I know Steve procrastinates the hell out of shit. Go write your books, man. Everybody wants them. I feel like see, that's the money thing. Which I feel like you just want the money. That's all I feel. Like I have to say, I was watching him a couple times during Tremors 7, and like he said he was enjoying, but he was just kind of. It seemed like he was checked out. I don't know if he was laughing. I couldn't tell. It seemed like he was half present, and it's like, bro, you're the one that put on the Tremors Fest. What? How are you half present during the movies? That's weird. Why are you doing this? Unless you see a buck in it. Um, oh, I should talk about. Um, I guess this is a good sad way to end this. So if you want Tremors movies and you like Tremors and you think Tremors is great, well, I am sad to inform you that Universal 1440, the production company that has made Tremors 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, has just shut its fucking doors. It actually, I think it's, I mean that, no hyperbole, it shut its doors on the Friday of Tremors Fest. So there will be no new Tremors movies for a good long while. And Don was talking about that, and he was like, maybe there's an eighth, and I don't think I'll be involved because it'll be so long. And it's like, oh, buddy, but I want to see your Tremors in space. That's please and thank you. I'm like, damn, man. And Yeah, but the production company that's made all of the Tremors movies besides Tremors 1 closed its doors. So if you want a Tremors movie, this is my advice to you. I guess this is a great way to end this before I get in my thank yous. Go make your own Tremors movie. All right? I have made my own Tremors movie, and yes, it's hard, but it's way more fun. It's fucking awesome, man. And go out there and go make stuff. Go make stuff. So that way, when you're criticizing someone like Don Michael Paul, you have a background on like, hey, how hard is this? What am I doing? What does it take to make this happen? Sound design is insanely difficult. Man, I thought it was all visual stuff, but then I had to do the sound edit on that fucking thing. Holy shit, is that hard? Wow. But go out there. Go make your own Tremors movie. Remember the 80s and 90s was talking about making their reboot? Bro, fucking get a camera. You don't even if you don't have friends, go out and make one yourself. It was just me and my wife. Literally, like she was filming and it was just me, and we just went out and made a Tremors movie. That was what this was all about. Like I gave my presentation on making Tremors was about making a Tremors movie and like what it takes to do it and stuff. And shit, I had a sock for a graboid puppet. It was a sock. It was just a sock. And then I had a milk carton. It was basically like this, but with a string on it that I like pulled through some corn in the water, and it made it look like there was a graboid. Very cool. I had a syrup bottle full of blood, and it was just go make it. Just go make it. Go make it. Like, go prove to all of these studios and marketing executives, and that's why we're gonna point at those people. Like, no, fuck you. We can make things. Fuck your AI. We are human beings, and we'll make mistakes. And you know what? That's what makes us awesome. We are people, flesh and blood and alive, and you're gonna fuck up. But you know what? You're gonna learn from those mistakes, and you're gonna keep barreling and keep going. And that's where I say, man, like you could tell by Tremor 7 that Don Michael Paul had fucked up a bunch, and he was like, "All right, I got this now." And his only fuck up with that movie is really that Jamie Kennedy wasn't there, and he still tried. Everybody still tried their asses off, and just do what you can with what you got. Get the fuck out there and do something. I say fuck a lot. I don't care. This isn't a PG podcast, motherfuckers, mother humpers. Um, get out there and make it. TikTok Graboid's making a comic. Where him and I are working on a Tremors Christmas story. Uh, fucking make it, man. I'm working on sequel. That's what this is like down here. Like this is script stuff. Like I got a Tremors sequel to my own Tremors movie, which I kept within canon, and I got a whole idea for what I'm doing. Just keep fucking going, man. Who cares? We've gone this far. We have gone 33 years of Tremors, 34 years because it was in '89 of Tremors. Get the fuck out there and make some more. Shit, it's almost 40 years because Steve and Brent started writing that shit in like '85. So we are flying, man. We just get out there and make Tremors. Make more Tremors movies. Don Michael Paul, I know nobody's paying you, but go make a Tremors short. Go get Jet. Go pick up Jet and be like, Jet, here, I wrote this script. You're in my Tremors movie. Or Jet, go to your dad and be like, yo, Dad, man, I like I know that's not how you talk. I'm sorry. I like made it. I wrote a Tremor script, Dad. Will you film it? Yeah, nobody's paying me. Fuck it, and film and go make a 5-minute Tremor short with your kid, and it's amazing and awesome and valuable and fucking cool. There are so many Tremors fan films. There's a Lego Tremors. There's a Sweden Tremors. There's a Tremors found footage documentary. There's Tremblers. There's that's not it. There's actually a good friend of mine, Kevin Collins, who's been on a bunch of podcast episodes of this, who wrote Writing Perfection, which was about a writer going to perfection and seeing graboids for the first time and interacting with them. And he actually he did a whole reading of it too. Fucking check it out. Writing Perfection. It's on YouTube. Kevin Collins. Just fucking go make it. That's what Don Michael Paul did. They came up to him and they were like, you should make Tremors. And he was like, I don't think I can. And they're like, but you can. And he's like, yes, I can. That was just a butcher of what that happened. But still, he fucking did it. And I want Don Michael Paul's Tremors 8. I want it to be written by S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock and Ron Underwood and Nancy Roberts and all of them producing, but I want Don Michael Paul to direct it, and it's a story. Don Michael Paul came up with a story, but then they came up with the. And you know what? I don't even want it to be a movie. In all honesty, I want it to be a TV show. I want you guys making a TV show. I want to see Don Michael Paul directing episodes alongside Jordan Peele and James Gunn and Taika Waititi and Sam Raimi. And yeah, Don, I just put all your names with all those people. I fucking mean it, man. I want you just make something. I know that making that TV show is but who cares though? Let's do it because it's awesome, and we can, and we must do what we can with what we got because when you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune. Yeah, holy shit. So we traveled some fucking miles there. Wow. Didn't think we'd go that far. So we're gonna do some thank yous. I always like to end thank yous. First of all, thank you to Don Michael Paul and Jet Paul. That was adorable. I gotta text you back here. It's gonna take me about half an hour, even after I'm done, because I'm just gonna be like, I don't know what to do. Thank you guys. Uh, thank you to the Violet Crown Theater. And David Gill at the Violet Crown Theater. He was my main interaction point, and I would really like to thank that guy for helping to put together Tremors Fest. That was fucking awesome. Thank you so much, man. Can't wait to do it next year. Maybe not do it at that Violet Crown. Maybe we're gonna do it elsewhere, but we're still all gonna be in this together. We're gonna be working on this. It's awesome. Thank you to Paige Allen. Uh, Thank you for having me on your podcast. I fucking love you. Thank you to Daphne Backman. Check out the Run for Your Lives podcast. Speaking of which, oh my god, this was so cool to me. I should have started this, but I got so caught up into it. I want to give a special shout out to three people, but first two, Damian Sawyer Hammond and Mitchell Bantine, literally came up to me while we were at Tremors Fest and were like, I love your podcast. Can I get a picture with you? I was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? I mean, it was fun. Damien did that. And then Mitchell, like I was talking to, actually it was so cute. Mitchell I was talking to, and he was like, hey man, I just want to like thank you because like I came here and I was really worried because like I like Tremors a lot, like a lot. But then like I came here and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be the only one that likes Tremors much. But then I like saw you and like you like Tremors a lot, and you made me feel a lot better about being a Tremors fan. I was like, oh, what, dude? Hey man, we all love this. We're all Tremors fans. Everybody's equal. It doesn't matter your knowledge or history of it. And it's like, yeah, man, you know, it's my job. I do the Talking Tremors podcast. And Mitchell was like, dude, that's you? And I was like, oh my god, you fucking, there's no way, man. He's like, I love your podcast. I was like, shit, let's get a picture. Because yeah, I wanted the picture. It was like, I am a fan. And then literally 5 minutes later, Damian Sawyer Hammond came up and was like, can I get a picture? Because I love the podcast too. And Damien's mom, actually, Amy Sawyer Hammond, was the one who got Zoran Gavojic's ticket for Megan Gorman. So that was thank you to Amy Sawyer Hammond for having both of those people at Tremors Fest. Without you, that wouldn't have happened. So thank you to Amy and Damian Sawyer Hammond. Super duper appreciate you guys a whole bunch. And thank you for Mitchell Bantine for making me feel special. You know, you made me feel special. Don't, it's not the other way. And then I got to point out Forrest Ollinger, who was also there, and then Dory Hubbard, who they, weirdly enough, I came down for breakfast at our hotel, and he was sitting there, and I was like, "What the fuck?" One of the people who's actually watched my Tremors movie and apparently liked it. So I thank you for like checking it out and shit. Thank you for being at Tremors Fest. That was really cool. Next time I need to get you some edibles because I noticed your T-shirt and that's on me. I had this whole bag of like edibles because I bring weed edibles to like everything because I like it's not just the fans, it's not just the actors and the crew that get shit. I love to give the fans shit too. Everybody gets shit. You're awesome. You're awesome. I was taking videos of everybody and they were like, "Why are you videoing me?" I was like, "Because you're a Tremors fan and I fucking love that. That's awesome." And they were like, "Okay, that's weird." I was like, "I don't care. I'm weird, but you're a Tremors fan. I love you." And I need to hand out way more edibles to people at the next Tremors Fest. Note to self. So thank you to Mitchell and Damien and Amy and Forrest and Dory. You guys make me feel special. I fucking love you. Fucking love you, man. Michael O'Haver and Edward Yee, Joseph Aquina, Samantha Hallberg. You all were fantastic at Tremors Fest. Zach Wiley too, who I would say has the largest Tremors collection on the planet. Fantastic fellow. Thank you for helping out where you did and everything. Super appreciate you. Thank you to Edward for taking all your pics. Thanks to Mike for getting all your videos and having the prize for the costume contest. That was super cool of you. And Joseph and Sam, thanks for just coming up and just saying hi at the end. That was so weird and random, and I love you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really pleased if I forget a name. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to go through here. Oh, Derek Hillier's family. Derek Hillier and his family, his brothers, and his wife. It was so cool. Oh my God, this just went said you're live. I know I'm live. What are you talking about? Just so cool that you again. We were at the same hotel too, and like, can I get a picture? Yes, can I get a picture with you? Yes, thank you. Uh, I don't think that'll ever get old. It's so weird and fun. You guys were great. Thanks for bringing your kids too. I love that one kid, your one son, just being like, "Can I be in the next movie?" Fuck yes, you can. Fuck yes. And Derek, go make your own Tremors movie with your family. Get out there and do it. I believe in you. I'm going through here. I'm scanning my memory for every interaction I had. It was really Daniel Trujillo and Victoria Luiando, and I think it's Teresa Trujillo too. I could be wrong. Or Teresa. I love you guys. I know that's the TikTok rabbi, but Victoria, I love you. Like coming up to me and saying what you said. I really appreciate you. All I did was just I saw your son being awesome, and wanted to shine a spotlight on it. I don't know if that's worthy of praise because in my mind, I think your kid is the one that deserves the praise more than I do. 18,000 followers on TikTok ain't nothing to smack at or whatever words. I'm not tired. It's not 2.5 hours in, but Victoria, you're fucking awesome. And Dan, so are you. I love Dan. Did I get his signature in the book too? Because he was kind of like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, I did. Daniel Trujillo, TikTok graboid. Yeah, right there. And I got your signature, bro. And I know you're like, "What? That's not. What are you doing, man?" And it's like, yeah, one day you'll be the famous one. And I'll be like, I know that guy. Fuck yeah. I got his first signature. Fuck it. You're so cool. So we'll go through it. Gladys Jimenez and Lila Lee. Fantastic meeting you guys. Ah, oh my God. You guys meeting for the first time. My favorite part of Tremors Fest. Absolutely. I love you, Don and Steve and Michael. But seeing those two meet for the first time, everything else paled in comparison. I'm so glad I got video of that moment because that was beautiful. And I'd love to have you ladies on a podcast sometime. We'll work on that. Cher Stallings, bro, you, we had a heart to heart, and girl, I feel your pain. Oh, you made me love producers a little more too. So good for you on that. Uh, Harry B. Miller and Vanek Moradian, yo, dudes, editors for life. I mean, edit for life. How it's easy. You're not gonna like you could die editing because it's just boop, 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 boop. But you dudes, You're the ones that make it all look good. Thank you so much. Um, Sarah Botsford, thank you for telling me to put my fly up. Tremors 4 is the best Tremors movie. You're adorable. Watching you interact with Caitlin. Chef kiss. Oh, two wives I want to call out at the same time. Elza Gross and Michelle Wilson. I've been talking to Michelle for a long time, and actually, she got some fire. She is like a blazing inferno of go fuck yourself. Like you could tell she's been in the industry a while. She's seen it all, and she's like, I don't give a shit. Fuck you guys. I feel her. And then Elsa's got the same thing on the other. They were both talking to each other on Friday night, just like, yeah, this is insane, isn't it? Oh yeah, I know, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And I was living for that conversation. Um, Obviously, I couldn't have been in it, but I was just as a offside observer. You two, awesome. Thank you for sharing Elza with us. Thank you for sharing Steve with us, Michelle. I know that's so weird to say like that, but it's true. Thank you guys. Um, that's uh, Robert Jade. Yo, bro. That was another, what a down to earth, humble dude. Uh, Telling me about why you changed your name. That was such a kind of heartbreaking story, but I appreciated you taking the time to really clue me into that. We can get you on this podcast too, bro. Again, I'll watch everything you've ever done. You're gonna hate me for it. Thank you though. And then I gotta say, Steve and Ron, bros. Um, Shit, what have I said that I haven't said before? You guys are fantastic. Shit, and Ron, I'm really sorry that like I did not realize how short you were. Like that's a legitimate. I don't see physical things. I grew up in a family of burn victims. You're like, what the fuck? What backstory is this? And it's like, no, I did. So I grew up in an entire family of burn victims, where my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts, and my uncles all hardcore like scarring burn victims. And so I think I got some like face blindness or attribute blindness from this. And shit, I just don't see stuff until it gets like really pointed out to me. And I didn't realize that Ron Underwood was so short till I stood next to him for a picture, and I was like, "Oh shit, hold on, I'm not. I have to look down at you. Oh my god, what the fuck is going on here?" And I'm really sorry, Ron. You're a fabulous guy. I love Mighty Joe Young and Hearts and Souls. Thank you for that. I need to check out La Brea. Steve was telling me you direct that too. And but yeah, thank you. And Steve, hello, Steve. I like what you do because I'm you. Yes, stop procrastinating and get out there and write more stuff. I know you're writing that one. I think it's about a zoo ship. Zoo ship. Do it because it's gonna be good. I know you don't think so, but it is. You're fucking fantastic, Steve. There's a reason I cosplayed at you. Cosplayed as you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're great. Oh, Michael Gross, bro, Michael, wherever you're at, I doubt you're listening to this, but you, dude, man, it's been said enough. You were fantastic, fucking fantastic. The boys, thank you. I gotta get a video of the boys thanking you because they do. They fucking shit their pants that Burt Gummer knows their name. Like that's huge. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Before I want to end on one person, but before I do that, I want to shout out the We Have Issue podcast and the Suns and Shadows podcast. Two of my like favorite podcast people. Thank you for talking Tremors. Thank you for getting out there, spreading the word. Anthony, Jeff, Kevin, Steven, Tina. Thank you guys so much. Just beyond words. Uh, Also, thank you to Nate Crabtree. I know you're out there, buddy. We'll get a Tremors Fest into the UK. I promise. Um, by the way, if you wanted to figure out who my suspect was in that thing I was talking about, notice the one person I didn't thank. And continuing on, um, I want to really thank, as my last one here, Zoran and Megan Gormormanovich. I feel like there's a portmanteau of your guys' last name. I'll have to figure it out. I know you said it for your wedding. I can't remember it. But you guys, like, I am so glad I was able to get you both tickets. And Zoran, you're great, but Megan is better. She really is. I love you, man. Thank you for interviewing me. It's such just being a great friend, being a good friend of everything that we do here. Uh, and just, but you guys, Megan is dope. Megan, you fucking awesome. I guess I'm just saying that because I already knew Zoran was awesome. So then meeting Megan was like, hey, this girl, because I couldn't stop taking videos and pictures of Megan just beaming and smiling at Zoran in his interviews. She was just like she was just filming and just like, oh my god, my husband is like meeting his idols and interviewing them. This is amazing. And she just filled my heart with wonderful joys. And I can't thank you enough, Megan. That was dope. But then Zoran, thank you again, man. You're for being a fan of Tremors, for loving Tremors, doing everything you've done for Tremors. Um, maybe you're the Tremor Saga. I don't know. You could be. I don't. Maybe you are. I don't think it's me. I think it's you. And thank you for being everything that you've done. Thank you for interviewing me. That was really sweet. I'm making this podcast tonight to beat you to the punch tomorrow, just as a point of fact, because I know you. I know you very well. You're awesome, dude. I'm thinking. Oh, I just want to say in this, what we just did here, thank you to Cody Pratt. Thank you to Pop Tart Gaming. Thank you to Midnight TV. Helen Sanchez. Remember the 80s and 90s. Trey Bowen. Mr. Burley. I'm going to go back here looking at all these. Austin Eaton. Jesse Tacos. Chozo Ono, Coyote of the South, The Mighty Caesar, User Some Numbers or whatever, and Loading, and also Anonymous Gamer. I'm pretty sure that was it. Pretty sure I got everybody. Jimmy Allen, yeah, Ryan Leggert. So thank you all of you guys. Especially remember the 80s and 90s. I didn't think you're a pretty big TikToker. I didn't think you'd come in. I really appreciate that. You guys are all great. Oh my god. Oh no, I thought I got another comment, but I didn't. Everybody's gone. I'm just talking to myself. But thank you everybody that comes in and does this and checks things out and is there day after day after day for this insanity. It's insanity, but it's beautiful insanity. Beautiful. Um, wait, who just like? Oh, Dan, I fucking knew you were there. Shit, bro. There's like one up here in the corner that's just your little, the Barbie with the graboid. And I wasn't sure that you were still here, but I fucking knew you were. Daniel Trujillo, the TikTok graboid. I got your signature, bro. I got it. I got it. Dude's dope. Tell your mom I love her. She sent me a message today. She's adorable. And yeah, so everybody that's in on this, thank you all so much. And Charlie Boxcar Charlie, he was on the YouTube channel. Shit, I should have said that. Charlie Davis, thank you, bro. You've actually talked to me on Twitter. Thank you so much for loving the podcast and enjoying it. And yeah, okay, so that's all like regular people, and then I always love to end with I want to thank my mom and my dad. That would be Dennis and Desiree. And I want to thank my sister Lacey and my nephews Shantae, Shamar, Chantrell, Samaje, and Sahil. They don't listen to the podcast, thank God. But I still love to thank them. I love to thank all of you guys. Thank you, my family, for being there, supporting me. Like I said, my mom bought me the microphone and these pants. My dad was like, he's the one that gave me the wine to give to people. The nephews give me the inspiration to do what I do with what I can, with what I got. I love you, Lacey. I do. I really do. Um, you all are great. Thank you to my family. You always thank your family. It's Oscar speeches, and as always, oh, I should. Oh shit! I always fucking forget to. Thank you to the Tremor Saga people, whoever you are that run this. Thank you for allowing me your YouTube channel. Thank you for allowing me your TikTok channel, and going out here and doing all this. And good night to you too, TikTok Graboid. Thank you for everything that you guys do day after day. Appreciate all of you. And my final one, because I always love to end on this, and I just want to thank Caitlin Marie Lutt Burzloff, my wonderful wife person. This isn't my original wedding ring. I lost it in the garden, and I'm still looking for it. But I found this one on a statue of Jesus in a graveyard. So I don't know. It's still cool. It's awesome. It's got like an Indian face on it. I love you. Thank you, Caitlin. I know you're downstairs. Like, can you just fucking end it already? And I will. But I gotta make sure I get all my shit out. And yeah, thank you. I love you. I hope you're watching The Librarians, which they just did renew The Librarians, the next chapter. I can't wait. Like, they just announced that. I know it has nothing to do with Tremors, but I don't care. The Librarians is dope. Everybody go watch The Librarians. The Librarian, Fast and the Furious and Tremors, that's a good thing. I think Tremors and The Librarians, that's a good format to look after. So yeah, thank you to all those people. Thank you to everybody. Um, Fuck yeah. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, I should have done this. Thank you to Burt Gummer's Subterranean Meme Stash and to Baby Fark McGee's ex. I always forget you guys, but you guys have been huge friends. Always, always and forever. Always and forever. I love you guys. And so yeah, now I've thanked everybody I need to appropriately, and we end as we are wont to do. And I think it's appropriate to end by being like, thank you again to Don Michael Paul, who has kept the Tremors franchise alive for the last 5 years, and even I have to say, 8 years. Let's He's still keeping it going. Still showed up to Tremors Fest. It's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic human being, and a great person to take the torch of Tremors. And if he wanted to keep taking that torch, by God, I'll put gasoline on it and fucking we'll burn that fire all night long. And yeah, thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Fucking yeah. I really can't say enough on that. I will say one final thing. Don Michael Paul ain't half